Jaxon with a fucking X.
Jaxon with a fucking X.
Did that make you feel? Were you the special? You were the special.
Do you
Jaxon?
want to know why it's like that?
Why?
Because when I was born, Michael Jackson was fiddling with kids, so Mum didn't want to have any relation to that.
So she was into branding from the very start.
Oh yeah, she knew what was going to happen. I think
that's good. That's good PR from Mum.
And now it's a good story. So
that's pretty Fairbairn.
Oh, fuck off.
You know, this would be like your 100th podcast, and in comes this prick making Fairbairn. How often people get that wrong?
Every time. I get it wrong. I say it differently every single time. I say Fairbairn, Fairburn, Fairbarn. Apparently, it's supposed to be said Fairbairn.
Yeah, right.
Scottish or some shit.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, nice.
But,
well, you know, maybe that's our candid opening. What do you reckon? Yeah, I reckon that's our candid opening. Oh, you want to do the hand clap with me, Jaxon?
Yep.
3, 2, 1. That's the audio right there, and that might be our candid opening. Jaxon, for those who might not know you, who are you and what do you do? Very broad question, but I'm going to let you take it on.
Where do I begin? I'm Jaxon Fairbairn.
Hi.
This is my camera, right?
Yeah.
I'm Jaxon Fairbairn, half of Fairbairn Films with my brother Lachlan Fairbairn. We are, I'd say, YouTubers / TikTokers / Instagrammers / anything you'll pay me to do.
Yes. I like that. Oh, that's good. I've been watching you, Jaxon, since I was 14, and the reason why you're not going to see it, but inside of these shoes here, my feet are shaking. I'm a little bit nervous because honestly, I've been watching you probably since I was 14, and the reason why I'm glad to have you here and I'm excited is because you were a big inspiration for me when I first started my content creation. I remember being at the skate park, filming my vlogs, and we'd all sit down and watch your videos on the way home like, oh, these boys from Adelaide, oh my God, you know, they're making money, blah, blah, blah. And I know now, having, not nowhere near your level, but having been able to do this for a living, like social media, X, Y, and Z, I've learned so many lessons along the way that were so different to what I expected this life would be.
Yeah.
And if that's my case, then your case is that on fucking steroids, right? So I'd love to ask you questions today about the side of comedy and Instagrammables and whatever the fuck you're going to pay me for and what that looks like and how you built that, right?
Yeah. You don't mind me having this logo while I'm, you know what I mean?
We're in a garage. We're still in the early days,
because when we were doing the Spotify stuff, we had to tape cans. We had to tape our shirts so that there was no logos. Like it was intense.
You can sneak in anything, man.
I used to try and I don't know if this is good, but I used to, on the Spotify podcast, I used to try and sneak in logos,
like Easter eggs. And
like
shit.
I'd have like a hat on with a logo that no one noticed or some shit.
Were you trying to push it, or
I wasn't really, but like low key, I was trying to get away with whatever I could.
Fucking hell. Well, welcome to the Mouthful with fucking Marcus. Now, to do this storytelling, right? Obviously, you've amassed a massive following, right? You've made viral videos. A lot of people know your face. You and your brother. I'm going to get into the context and the details of the videos that you make. But before we go further, I'm going to firstly undo my hands. Oh, unless you want to keep them.
I didn't even know I was doing this.
Let's go back in time and talk about your early days, right?
Yeah. How early are we talking?
I'm talking about growing up as a kid.
Yeah.
Kid before the videos, because often that's where a lot of your artistic flair would probably come from. Same as me.
We actually started back then, like before fucking when did before even you being a YouTuber was a thing. We were little, you know those little square rectangle handheld Canon cameras that you get given when you're 10 years old or whatever. Mine
wasn't Canon, but mine was the one you could put them underwater, and that was a big deal.
Yeah, like a Nikon or something. Yeah. So we, for our, I think 10th birthdays, we would get these little cameras and we would film ourselves doing just random stupid shit, and then we figured out you could, if you pressed play right at the start on the camera, it would run through all the videos seamlessly. Yeah. And that was the first like editing we'd ever done, because we would just, if the last one was shit, we'd refilm it so it would all run smoothly. And we were doing that since probably I was like 7 or 8 years old.
That's a good way to do it. And that's probably like improved your storytelling in the long run, because you're like, fuck, if I have to do a lot of editing, then the story itself's probably not great. So how can I play into the slideshow?
And you just want to get everything right the first time around as well.
Damn, fuck. That reminds, bro, I remember when I first started editing videos, I started with stop motion, Star Wars Lego. And because I didn't have editing software, I would make the Star Wars stop motion videos on PowerPoint, and you'd press the presentation slide and then you'd You'd click, 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 click.
I was in that bag as well. I was doing that shit with the Lego figurines and stuff, or like any action figures I had. I mean, taking a million photos and stuff.
But not on a tripod. Camera. It's just messing around.
No, it's a stack of books.
So you were always into cameras. Cameras were Christmas gifts and things that you did with your brother.
Yeah.
Talk to me about growing up. What were you like as a kid? Where did you come from? Obviously, Adelaide, shout out. Well, not Adelaide, sorry.
No, Adelaide, fuck it.
Adelaide, South Australia.
South Australia.
Talk to us.
Well, I don't know how many people will know where I'm talking about because you didn't even know. When I said this is where I come from, you didn't even know where I was coming from.
Oh, fuck.
But I don't even know if I should say it. Fuck it, I don't care. I was born in a town called Mannum in South Australia and I grew up on a farm with...
I fucking know where Mannum is, guys. I just didn't know which direction to point it in. All right, sorry. Sorry, Jaxon. Sorry.
You had no clue when I said Mannum.
Shout out Mannum. It's good.
Yeah, shout out Mannum. Actually, I don't know how I feel about Mannum. It's a bit of a... It's not a dead town, but, you know, it's just one of those country towns with not a heap going on, you know. But I was born there. Me and my brothers, my mum and my dad, my mum and my dad didn't grow up with me, but they raised us on a farm out near, I'm going even less known, Bow Hill, which is just a little, like, riverfront town. And we were across the river from that. And we had a property. Honestly, I had a fucking great... Am I allowed to swear?
Yeah, fucking oath you are, cousin.
I had a fucking good childhood. I was talking to my brother the other day actually, and we both agreed I could not have asked for a better childhood. Just like out on the farm, you can do whatever you want. You can yell and scream and...
That's refreshing to hear. You do not hear that from people in our generation anymore.
I can't imagine growing up like wall to wall with other houses. I reckon that would suck.
Well, I was going to say, you know, this is going to, I don't want to draw parallels to the Paul brothers here, but I'm thinking two creative brothers who make great videos who grew up fucking around, like they didn't grow up on a farm, but they grew up fucking
in Ohio,
with forests and trees. It looks like your imaginations would have been very key, strong pillars for your childhood. Like you would have been playing out in the backyard all the time. I'm not saying that I didn't.
I was playing with sticks till like for way too long in my childhood. I was playing with sticks till, I shouldn't have been, you know, it's probably concerning.
What was it? So we can, you can choose here depending on what comes to your mind. Cause we're talking primary school. That's where we're at right now. But high school is kind of where my life started, I guess. Primary school, I was still fucking dressing up as Harry Potter and playing fucking Thomas the Tank Engine through to year 7. In fact, like I was drawing the Marauders map still in high school, bro, from Harry Potter. Like
I fucking love the Marauders map.
Bro.
I've got a Marauders map in my room on a stand.
That's wild. That's
Sydney.
Fucking sick. Point being is that like when it came to like my development as a person, you learn a lot about yourself obviously through puberty and things like that. The reason I'm trying to tie this back into fucking being in the forest with Logan Paul and all of this shit, right, is what were you like as a kid? And you can tell me the version in primary school or high school. Would you say you fit in? I've heard you say in past podcasts that you were the class clown. Did you enjoy school? These are loaded questions and I'm just going to throw you in the deep end.
I'll get into all of it.
Have fun.
So I think generally people would have described me back then as like I was fucking hypo. Like I was hyperactive. Later on we found out I'm diagnosed with ADHD, which is it's both a blessing and a curse. But I fucking hated school all the way through. I just would rather be at home.
Still.
Oh, I couldn't sit still. I was always getting into trouble, like, but not because I wasn't fighting with other students or something, but I was always interrupting, you know. I was just that guy. And like I couldn't concentrate ever. Never did. I wouldn't say I did really poor in school, but I never did great, like probably on the lower end.
You were just there.
If I always, you know, when you get taken in for parent-teacher interviews, I don't know if this was you, but I would always get taken in and they would say to mum and dad, they'd go, look, he could do really well. He just needs to apply himself or he just needs to like actually try. I would always get that. And I'm sitting there like.
And what did your parents say to you on the drive home?
I mean, they were angry.
Sort your fucking
shit out. Sort your shit out. You need to try harder.
Mine was different. See, my parents paid me for A's back in the day. So,
dude, my parents would do that too.
That was my first proper income. So obviously my first job was Subway, but I was already 14 by then. I remember it was like, because primary school, I don't remember them giving out A's much. I don't know if that, because...
Yeah, they didn't. I think it's just like a... It's like a yes or no.
I was B's and C. I don't know, whatever the fuck. I remember getting to high school and that first report card was like 6 A's and 3 B's. And I remember at the time we had this agreement for $50 per A.
That's good cash.
That was the most money I'd ever made. And from that point on, it was just, I was cashing in every time.
Did they keep doing that? They kept paying you for
The money
A's?
had to get less and less and less and less. But the point being is by the time that we had negotiated the terms of my A's, the habit was already set in stone. So I was still the class clown. I was still the kid not fucking like I always got into trouble myself, but I really cared to get that A. I was that fucking bloke.
So you were getting into trouble, but your grades were good.
That's how I'd get away with it. Though. Teachers like the good student who's a shithead. You know what I'm saying?
I was the opposite. See, I was good friends with a couple select teachers growing up that sort of I could feel like they understood me.
Yeah.
But generally, I was I would say I was a bit of a shithead generally.
I was the bloke sitting next to you that still got his homework done. That's
you were my mate. You were my mate.
You suffered, and I.
You were my mate who we would always do dumb shit, but then I'm the one who gets into trouble. Yeah.
Yes, and I'm the one who got out of it. Anyways, so you were a bit of a rat shithead in school.
Yeah.
I was going to say rat head, but that's not even a word.
You're a bit of a rat head.
I don't fucking know. But obviously you were a happy kid and you had a good childhood. This wasn't coming from a place of anger or frustration with the place. You're like, oh, fuck, I want to play sticks. Let me play sticks, right? How do you think that has... This is probably still primary school days, right?
Yeah.
Let's jump into high school, right? Did you go to school with your brother?
Yeah. He was 2 years above me, but I would see him on campus and stuff all the time.
Maybe before we go further into that, and I don't want to jump around like a ping pong ball, but the podcast might be a little bit like this, guys. I'm sorry. We haven't actually spoken about your brother for the people who don't know you, right?
Yeah.
You said at the start that you're half of Fairbairn films with your brother.
Yep.
Should we establish Lachlan as a character, which might give context to the rest of the podcast? Well.
So Lachlan is my... I'll do some establishing. I've got two older brothers.
Mm-hmm.
My oldest one is Harrison. He, up until recently, was a captain in the military, in the Australian military.
Jeez, that's a 180.
And my second oldest brother is Lachlan, and he is who we started filming together when we were both quite young, and then now I work with him on a daily basis, and with the YouTube and TikTok and everything, and that's how we...
So you both have the similar interest of comedy, and we're going to get into how this all sort of came out and started, because my next questions are about the videos.
Oh yeah, let's fucking
You both have this similar interest in comedy, and I know because I'm not a comedian, I'm probably going to step on a few toes with the way I describe comedy, because you could argue, very similar to what I said, what do you do, Jaxon? Your first few things was video making, content creation, which is the truth, but you're in the niche of humor, the niche of lifestyle, right? And you also do live shows, guys. There will be a link here down the bottom if you're watching this.
We're on tour.
There we go.
Right now.
That's why he's back in Adelaide. Go on.
Our first show was in Adelaide.
How'd that go?
I was in two different minds about it after our first show. I got off stage and I was actually kind of not in a great headspace after I got off stage, because it was the first show and obviously we were going to be figuring it out as we went. But I really wanted it to be a fucking banger. And
it probably was.
There are definitely people in the room that would have said it was a fucking banger. But for me, I just naturally focus on everything that went wrong. And there's probably so much shit that people didn't even notice that I was worrying about. But I got off stage and I immediately, there was 16 people in the green room straight after, trying to fucking hand me beers, and mum came back and I just said, Lachlan, get everyone the fuck out. Get Will in here, and I want to discuss the show right now, because I was just so not depressed about it, but I was just I need to figure out why I'm feeling not great about our first show when everyone's
How good is that though? The consciousness, because I feel on your first tour, we've just completely skipped over the school stuff. We'll come back. That's
fine.
The interesting though, because let's say on your first few live shows, you probably would have taken those beers and been like, fuck yeah, look, it might not have gone that great, but it's my first rep at this. I'm happy. You're like, nah, I'm serious about this, and this is why you should go buy a ticket.
Yeah.
Continue.
It's going to be good. It'll only get better.
Because he's upset. That's how much he cares to make it good.
Because I want it to be good. I don't want to just get up there and go, whatever, we've got your money already, fucking have this crap. I want to make it actually worth everyone's while.
Was everyone's feelings about the show the same as yours, or did you learn something?
No one else felt as, I wouldn't say I felt bad, but there were just parts where I didn't want to skip over. That didn't go well, And so, for those of you who don't know, William Gibb, he's another TikToker. He's from Sydney. He does quite a lot of on-stage stuff. He does a lot of stand-up, and he was there and he helped us get our show ready. So as soon as the show finished, I was like, Will, get in here. Lachlan, let's get everyone out. I just want to talk about this. And then for 10, 15 minutes, we debriefed. And then as soon as we debriefed, Will was like, look, there were parts that didn't go well, but it didn't show. And he knew that because he is on stage every week. So he knows when
and
the
he
crowd.
can wear numerous hats versus you were just the performer that night.
Yeah, exactly. And he can tell when the crowd is, when the energy's gone down and when the energy's come back up. So he was really good to talk to and debrief with. And straight after that, I was fine.
I'm going to write that down. Sorry, you've just given me a note. Ask about the intricacies of live performing. Like that's. I hadn't even thought to ask you about the actual comedy shows themselves. Should we rewind back to school?
Yeah, let's rewind.
Sorry about that. That was a detour. There are tickets. He's in your country. I mean, he's in your state.
I mean, if I'm in Australia, if you're Australian, then I'm in your country.
We're coming to you. Okay. So we've just established Lockie as a character based on the storyline I was on.
That's what that was.
Lockie's a character. Where I was going with this is you both had this happy childhood. You're now in high school. You're saying you're a little bit of a, what was the words I used? Rat shit.
Rat shit head.
You're a rat shit head. And both of you boys have this interest in content creating and humor. Now, from the research I've done and from having watched you guys and just seeing what you've talked about, even on the phone last night, there's this idea, and it's probably the truth, not an idea, that Lockie does a lot of the writing and the shooting. Yeah. And I even watched a podcast of you from 5 years ago, like you younger, and you're like, yep, he writes them, I just help him. Yeah. I'm there helping him. Has that transcended? What was that like at the start? And what?
So this is good to get into. At the start of us making videos, I was just kind of Lachlan's, before I even had like the brain to even like put my creativeness into practice. Lachlan, he got given a pretty nice camera for his birthday when he was like, I don't know, 14 or 15. And he always had an interest in filming or like directing and that kind of thing. And so we wanted to start a YouTube channel, and he was into filming and I was just willing to do anything. Like I was just, yeah, exactly. I just didn't give a fuck. Yeah. I just would have done anything. I had no shame. Still don't, but like that was a big reason as to why. If you go back far enough into our YouTube or even Facebook, we started off with just me in the videos. No one else. Right. I was the only one on camera. So he could
just write you to do fucking whatever. And you're like, yep, Lockie, let's do it.
And it didn't start off as comedy skits either. It started off as, we called it Jaxon Challenges.
Oh, God.
Then a lot of these didn't get any views, but
yeah, right. So and this is interesting, and I've almost skipped us again. I want to go back to fucking high school. I keep skipping us away, but the point I was trying to make there is that you're one character and Lockie's another, and despite your similar interest in working together, you both seem like very different people.
Oh, we're very, very different people, but I mean, I think that's maybe why we get along so well. We do have our blues and stuff, but
It even goes to show, though, in the way that you're talking about the initial days of the videos of like, he would write certain stuff, but perhaps would he be the one acting out the stuff if you weren't for that writing?
So I'm not sure. I think maybe he was old enough to be a bit worried about making these quirky videos because no one was really.
Let's throw Jaxon off the bridge.
Yeah, literally. Because I was his younger brother and I didn't give a fuck. Like I was already just the class clown idiot anyway, and I didn't really care who saw what we were doing on weekends. So I would be in the videos, and they were literally, I think our first video where there was like a series was called Jaxon Challenges, and I would just do shit blindfolded, and it just like most of the time it'd be me in the kitchen cooking a fucking cake, but I had to do the whole thing blindfolded. Fuck. Which doesn't go well at all.
So what led you boys to the skits? I've got a question for you. Maybe this actually rewind. For those of you who don't, because obviously you've talked about the Jaxon Challenges, and now we've got Fairbairn films that we have today, which is nuanced and changed over time.
Yes.
But for those of you who don't watch Fairbairn films, could you describe to the audience what the videos are and how they're made? And I know that's a loaded question.
What they are now?
Yeah, like give me the style. Talk to us about what they are and the intricacies of what that is.
I would say our videos are comedy skits, and the comedy is very like deadpan, sarcasm, that kind of thing. Like not the obvious joke to make, sometimes. And I think that can potentially be a reason as to why they've done so well, because they're not just like the obvious joke to make in every situation kind of thing.
There's a aura to your videos. Whenever I watch them, I know it's a Fairbairn film because there's like, I even did it to you on the phone last night. Jaxon, my feet hurt. Lachlan, why do your feet hurt? Oh, because they hurt, Jaxon. Okay, well, that's no good, Lachlan. What are we going to do about that? Well, shut up, Jaxon. It's like you say it, but it smooth. You know what I'm saying? The reason I've gone into that style and establishing is you've gone from...
Sorry. That was my neck.
That is crazy.
I got a bad neck and back and everything.
How do you do that? That's crazy.
A lot of practice.
The comedy stuff. So you started with skits. Did you fall into comedy? Were there other creators that inspired you? How'd you fall into that?
So we started with obviously like the Jaxon challenges, and then that evolved. What happened is we had a couple videos on YouTube. They weren't doing well. So we moved to Facebook, and we had a couple, I reckon we had a solid, for the first little while, 2,000 views per video. We'd probably upload once every week or 2 weeks. And we were like pretty stoked with that, like a consistent 2,000 views. That's great.
That was a lot back
And
then.
I'm talking like 2016.
Yeah,
back in the day.
Bro, when I was posting to YouTube getting 1.8K, I was fucking, that was the shit.
It feels like a lot, eh? It's crazy. And then I remember I think I was in year 9 or 10. This is when Lachlan was still at school with me. I think he was in year 11 or 12. We had one video on Facebook do like 100,000 views overnight. And I remember passing Lachlan. I was going to fucking, I don't know, science or agriculture, and he was going to music studies or some shit. I don't even know what people do at school these days.
How do you remember that? That's wild.
And I was like, have you seen the video? And he's like, yeah, it's at like 95K or some shit. And I was like, what the fuck? And all of our friends, like everyone in the school was monitoring it. So I'd like walk past a group of people I didn't even really know. And someone would be like, is this you? And I'm like, well, yeah, that's me.
That would have been such an interesting thing at the time.
It was so fucking weird.
So, okay, I want to get into, because obviously that was your first bang into things growing. Now, I know a lot of people will say like, oh, you know, how did you do it? What were the key things involved? And I know at the stage, because you are quadruple the comedian content creator that you were 6 years ago when all this was happening, 7 years ago. But I will not dare to attribute just timing and early days of Facebook to the reason you guys did well, right? So my question here is, what skills do you think have contributed to your success in comedy above and beyond just being funny? Because you were funny back then, you're funny now, but at the end of the day, like, I do not want you saying, yeah, well, YouTube wasn't really working for us, which is what you originally said, and then we went to Facebook and then we started getting 2,000 views. It's not the platform. It is, but it's not. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You talk about high production value sometimes. What is it that's the source?
You should watch us make a video, dude, that is not high production value. It's me and Lachlan. One of us has a camera and one of us is holding a little microphone connected to basically one of these things, but it's like a handheld. And then we just, like today, we crapped out 2 videos with just that setup.
Wait, so I've always wondered, is it shoot all of your lines, then shoot all of Lockie's lines? Or is it, Jaxon, I'm saying a line. Lachlan, what's your response?
So at the very beginning, when we started doing the more scripted skits, we did try and go back and forth, but it was just taking too long. So from thenceforth, it was, I'll do all my lines, then Lachlan will do all his lines, or vice versa.
So it really is in the writing then. It's as much as you can riff and ad-lib and improv.
We do a lot of like, Lachlan will be like, oh, this is kind of where I want you to go with this, but like just fucking say whatever. And so there's a lot of ad-libbing and like improving involved in it, but we do have a script that Lachlan will write first and foremost.
That's
kind of thing.
Crazy. So let's just say actionable piece of advice to a person that's watching right now that wants to follow a content creation career in humor and comedy. The writing is, how long do you spend writing versus crapping out the 2 videos that you did today?
Well, the videos we took today were probably done. We made 2 videos that will go to YouTube and TikTok and everything. Probably took us maybe an hour.
In writing or shooting?
Shooting.
Just shooting. How long was the writing?
Well, it's not necessarily the writing. The writing can be done in half an hour. It's because when you've got the format for the exact type of video you want to make, it's, you know, once you've got that down packed, you know, you can just write the video. You just need a topic. And that's the hard bit, is finding the topic. Yeah.
From all the other comedians that you know and the people in the content creation space doing similar stuff, are they doing the same sort of, is your writing style and your filming style stock standard for
I'd say
comedy?
It's pretty unique, actually.
Tell us how.
I don't actually know any others that do like write a script for every video and then film it all these people's lines and all this person's lines. Like take, for example, I mean, if you know who I am, you probably know who Frenchie is.
Mm-hmm. He's funny as fuck.
When he films, he still does, you say your line, I say my line. You say your line, I say my line.
So the video builds itself as you go.
Pretty much, yeah. But he will quite often, he does a lot of like scripted stuff as well. But so he's probably one of the only other people I know that does like scripted content.
Yeah, wow. Hectic. I mean, that's not something that I knew. I knew that Lachlan, like, I've heard that he writes things, but I thought that was like a video plan and overarching idea.
Because Lachlan's got the format down packed. Sometimes I'll be like, hey, we need to do a video about ray gun, and then he'll, think of an idea for ray gun. So I'll sometimes give him a prompt and then he will just spit out some script about it.
Wow, that's wild. Okay, well, the next question I want to ask, what were the biggest challenges you faced when you were first starting the content? But it seems as though that because of the organic growing of the skill as you've just done more videos, it's come to you guys as you...
I feel like we were quite lucky when we were starting out because it wasn't, you didn't have to what's the word? You didn't have to clickbait back then. It was just like...
Make a good story.
If people found it funny in any way, it might do well, rather than now you have to do something super, super relatable that everyone can relate to, that's really relevant and maybe even like super clickbaity. Mm-hmm. There are like these fucking...
Timing's right. You got to fucking do all the X, Y, and Z's.
It's got to be cut quick enough so that people don't get bored, But back then you could just fucking do whatever you wanted, and if people liked you, they liked you.
You know what I'm starting to think though, and I've found this with my videos as well, because even me at my stage of like, I've had a lot of stuff go viral on TikTok, Instagram, same thing. I will try and follow all of these cues of like, make sure the hook's good, make sure that I'm filming it as best quality as I can, pick the right recipe, make the thing engaging, tell a good story, tie it to something, send people somewhere at the end. All of these fucking things that everybody tells you to do. Yeah. I do still think there's room for, if you just make a good video, people will still like it.
There is that. Like there are some people that I watch on YouTube still that don't really follow any of that, and they still get like great views because they're just doing what they love, and that's their job.
It gets shared, and that's
like you can follow, especially on TikTok, you can follow every single little thing to try and make your video do well. And sometimes, or actually probably more often than not, it will just flop, or at least do half as well as what you want it to do, And
I think it comes back to what you said originally about that initial idea, because you can dress a pile of dog shit real nicely, covered in ribbons.
You can put makeup on a pig, but you can't make it sing.
That was exactly what I was trying to say. That's exactly what I was trying to say. So an actionable piece of advice is to people who want to start content creating: take a little bit of extra time on the front end because it'll make your back end far easier. Yeah. I'm guessing your edits are fucking easy as.
Oh, it's just, like, I mean, we'll do a skit filmed on iPhone for TikTok, and I'll just edit it in CapCut on my phone.
That's crazy. That's actually
I won't
crazy.
even put headphones in.
Yeah, wow.
I'll just use my phone speaker.
My cooking videos take like 4 hours to shoot, probably 2 hours to write the recipe. I've got to go grocery shopping, got to prep the shit, got to edit the shit. Dude. I love it. I'm sorry. Thank you so much. But it's
he's grateful. It's just,
it's
acknowledge the work. But you fucking
it's not just that. You know what it is? It's and what I need to learn from what you're saying, and I've heard it time and time again, is I do all of this effort to make my videos what they are. I put all of this effort in, and yes, sometimes it's appreciated, sometimes not. It's not up to me to expect my audience to like what I'm doing. I want them to like it, right? Can you achieve the same result doing less work? Yes or no? And if you want to choose to do more work for the same result, that's just your ego saying, well, I make high quality, or I do X, Y, and Z. If people are enjoying the CapCut, who gives a fuck how you got there? You know what I'm saying?
It's so tough because it's like, I don't know if you know that TikToker this is just an example, but there's a TikToker in the UK, his name's Italian Batch.
Maybe.
You may know who I'm talking about.
Is this guy that smokes past it? No, that's
QBC.
QB.
He's got like a black mustache. It doesn't really matter. Yeah. He does, all his content is just one take, not often even any cuts, just start to finish. He'll do a little bit and then put a caption on it, upload it. That's got to be probably not saying anything he's doing is low quality, but what it takes to make those is not much. You just need an iPhone and an idea. And I think that pays, is the word homage maybe, to the fact that you don't need necessarily, depending on your niche, you don't need all this special stuff. It's not about the equipment and, everything you put behind it. sometimes. I mean, sometimes it helps, sometimes, you know.
You are right. And it's not like we're saying anything massively new here, but it is good to remind people that the barrier to entry now for the sort of career we do is lower than it's ever been, especially if you're willing to do the reps of like posting consistently, which is what I wanted to get you into, get into the next question with you is like above and beyond, and I'm trying to really hammer home this theme that like, and we talked about it before, your timing, sure, that's great. And yes, your storytelling and your writing, they're key points to what makes Fairbairn the IP that it is. What do you think has actually contributed to the success of your YouTube channel, particularly above and beyond just writing funny skits and filming things? Like you posted consistently for fucking years. What are the things you found? Like
that is a big part of it. That's if people ask me, if someone will come up to me on the street and say, hey, I really want to get into making videos. Like I spoke to Luke about this. Luke Wolf, who was on, would he be the last episode? Mm-hmm. I spoke to him. I was at the pub and we were just chatting and he was saying like, you know, obviously he's got a platform, but like, you know, are there any tips you would give me? And I just said, consistency is probably the biggest thing. I would, that's the advice I would give, consistency and do what you want to do, you know, because if you're not enjoying it, then what's the fucking point in doing it, you know?
Jaxon, can you write this? This might sound like we're pulling teeth here, but I genuinely, this will be helpful for people. Can you tell me what consistency is in the content creation game? And don't just say uploading a lot. Like, is it finding ways to be scheduled about your work, setting goals that you can follow? What do you boys do? Do you set a target first?
Well, it's changed a lot over the years, our, you know, consistency, but we try to, lately we've been doing like 3 or 4 videos at a time, and then that just gives us something to edit and then upload for the next week or so. Mm-hmm. But
and what have you gained from that consistency? Why? Like what's so good about sticking with it?
You just want to like, you're never going to make a name for yourself if you do 1 video a month. I mean, you might do depending on how well your videos go, but like you want to, it sounds lame, but you want to stay relevant, you know, like, and that's how you make money on TikTok. Like you want to stay relevant. You want people to know who you are so that brands will come to you and say, hey, do you want to do a video for this brand for the, you know, XYZ? But in terms of consistency, I guess like you just got to find a I wouldn't say schedule, but I guess so, that works for you. You know what I mean?
The thing with consistency for me, Jaxon, which I found, so I remember bro, this is fucking, I've had, 100,000 followers on Instagram. I just hit that, right? I got a lot more on TikTok.
Hell yeah.
I've had that goal, Jaxon, I'm telling you, since I started YouTube in like 2015, right? Every year on my New Year's resolution, I will hit 100,000 followers. I'll hit 100,000 followers. And then I realized from this whole consistency conversation that I was thinking about it all wrong. And the reason why I appreciate the consistency is for so long, I was thinking to myself, I will do this and then 100,000 followers will happen, right? And I'd think to myself, all right, my goal is to post 4 videos a month. And because I did 4 videos a month, where am I going with this? Because I'm doing 4 videos a month, eventually that goal will come. And if those videos do well, the 100,000 followers will come.
Yeah.
But then when I made the goal of consistency, which is you're just going to upload 3 times a week, or you're just going to stick to this regime, even if it's a smaller regime than, let's say you said, I'm going to upload 100 videos a year, right? Instead of thinking about it that way, you think about it, I don't want to run here, fuck. Back yourself in here, Marcus. Back yourself in here, Marcus. Stick to the regime, even if it's a small one, and stick with it. And with that being the goal, the output actually comes in the end. Yeah. And the reason I say the 100,000
and you figure it out.
Correct.
You figure it out.
By staying consistent, you improve along the way.
Let's say a little while ago, I just hadn't been posting on my own personal TikTok for you know, maybe 1 video every, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks, just because I was filming with Lachlan and that was for our joint videos. But I sort of wanted to pump my own personal thing up just in case, or like just because I sometimes want to do.
The band breaks up. We'll talk about that. Fucking hell.
But I gave myself a goal of just post something every day.
Yeah.
And whether that be a skit or like a little rant or whatever. And when you do stuff like that, you know that, you know, 9 times out of 10, it's not going to be a viral video. But then sometimes you'll get that viral video and it kind of tells you why that worked. And then if you really enjoy that, you can just fucking hammer that one thing. And whether that be, you know, 1 or 2 different things that went really well, you can see what works and what doesn't pretty easily if you're just crapping out as much content as you can.
And the compounding effect of it, and going back to the whole 100,000 followers thing, it took me 5 years to get to 10. It took me 5 years to get to 10, and then a year and a half to get from 10 to 100. right?
Yeah, that's crazy.
And but it was the consistency of the 5 years and those attempts at fucking just throwing
Different
it at the
shit.
wall and see what blows up. I look at social media like a gambling machine that doesn't cost. It always costs money because you might need the gear or you might need the time and the resources or the people to pay to make the content. But it's a slot machine, right? And you just press that gamble button every fucking time. But the good thing is you can put as much fucking money into that thing as you want.
Yeah, exactly.
And eventually it's going to go.
Exactly.
So you just keep going. And I know people be like,
that's a good way of looking at it,
I'm
actually.
an artist. I only want to make the best looking stuff. I want to make quality. You will make the quality by having stayed consistent. Does that make sense?
You'll figure it out as you go. If it's what you want to do, eventually something will probably work, if you try enough different shit.
You talk about relevance, Jaxon, in the sense of like being in front of people's eyes regularly so that you're, more attractive to brands and you've got your, audience engaged more often. In terms of relevance itself, like in the meaning of the word, how are you choosing the stuff you think people will relate to? Because being in front of people's faces is one thing, but actually like appealing to ray gun during the Olympics in France, that's timing. That's being relevant.
Yeah, that's like, so in that sense, it's like, oh, this thing happened. That's worldwide.
Go.
We're going to bang out a video this tomorrow and post it either that day or the next day. Try and catch the stream of that. And that way.
What happens when the trends seem to dry up though? Do you guys miss doing stuff like,
that's when we get to just do random shit.
Let's make a brick wall.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. That's when we get to do random shit. Like there's nothing wrong with doing, posting about what's relevant, but like, sometimes we'll just make a video because like I don't know, fucking stubs. I had this video idea. I don't know how we'd ever film it, but what was it? When you take a shit and then you've wiped your ass and then you're about to get up and you have to shit again while you're still on the toilet. I don't know how the fuck we'd ever film that, but just like that is something that could be relevant to, that could be relatable.
That'll go 100%. Bro, I go through that every day, mate.
Dude, I don't know how the hell I would film
Jaxon,
that.
what's worse is, so are we going into poo territory here?
Fuck it.
I'm a furious wiper.
Everyone shits.
But yeah, I know, but we're getting details here.
All right. Do it.
I'm a furious wiper. I will not pull my pants up until every speck of that area is clean, right?
So, I think everyone should do that.
I'm a dude who eats a lot of food. My career is food, so I'm shitting a lot, right?
You're shitting.
Hear me out. Okay. If I do, like, I'm talking 10 wipes. Like,
I thought you were going to say I'm talking 10 shits every day.
No, it depends how much I'm eating.
Fucking hell.
Okay, 10 wipes, right? I don't know if you can relate to this. Maybe this could be a skip for Fairbairn, just fucking,
I would say sometimes I wipe unnecessarily just to make sure,
This is what I'm saying. 10 wipes is just the start. If I see even a millimeter speck of shit on that toilet paper, it's a precautionary another 3.
Fuck.
And if on the 3rd I see anything, it's another 3. And I'm going red raw with this shit.
What if you... This is actually
sorry,
hilarious.
guys.
This is fucked.
This is going in someone's ears right now. Sorry.
What if...
Hygiene's important.
What if your first wipe is a ghost wipe when there's nothing?
That has never happened to me in my life.
Never? In your whole life?
You've had a ghost wipe before?
Yeah, fucking oath. Obviously, I'm not going to stop after one wipe.
Do I not know what a ghost wipe is? Ghost wipe means nothing on the toilet paper.
Yeah, nothing on the toilet paper.
It's actually impossible unless you're eating cat food as your meals. Like dry.
Well, I think if you're not eating like any fiber at all, and it's just
so it's just Wonder White bread and that's all you ate and the ghost poo came out or something.
Like there's just nothing to clean up. Obviously, I'm doing 3 to 4 extra wipes, but that's never happened to you? A ghost wipe, completely nothing. That's crazy.
So you say
I love a ghost wipe.
So there's a times where you've done the ghost wipe and you've pulled your pants up. You're doing the precautionary 3.
No. Usually I'll do another 2 or 3, just just in case. Because there's obviously I've just taken a shit. You can't just wipe once.
Well, forgive me. I figured if I ever did have a ghost wipe that I would pull my pants up
just
and
wipe
go.
once?
Well, that's what a ghost is, no?
I guess so. Yeah.
I don't know, Jaxon. As they say, no matter how much you jiggle and dance, you're still going to end up with piss in your pants. You know what I'm saying? Do I have a ba-dum-tsh sound effect on here? Shut up. Anyway, talk to me about the early days of your page having blown up. What were the initial changes you noticed in your life? We have gone like this in this podcast.
Yep.
But we're back in high school. Lachlan's in year 12.
I think this is the way to do it.
It's
sort
good.
of dart around, but have a main line.
Yeah. Now we're back in high school.
I think this is perfect.
Thank you, Jaxon.
So what are we talking about?
We're in high school. I know we have already talked about the intricacies of building a comedy-related channel, but we're going to go back slightly before the intricacies to when you were first blowing up. At this stage, Facebook's doing well. You're about to move back to YouTube, I'm sure. Yep. You're having your first viral video. What are you experiencing now? And I'm not saying straight away. I mean, a couple months in where things are going really well.
Oh, yeah. So this is the thing. Everyone assumes, well, I don't know if everyone assumes, but this is what I thought. I thought, oh, we've had this viral video. Now this, you know, this could be our thing. We got to make more. The next video
flopped.
Yep. Did just as well as the ones we were putting out before we had a viral video. And we didn't really, no one knew who we were, so we didn't have like a niche or anything. We were just sort of doing what we wanted. The first video that went viral for us was called Places to Sit That Are Not a Seat. And that was just me going around
planking,
yelling the name of what I was going to sit on, and then we would just film me sitting on that. I don't even know how this did well, but like I would be like fence, and then I would sit on the fence, or I'd be like dog, and then I would sit on our family dog, and then I would go, I don't know, a cactus or some shit, you know. And I think we did make another couple of those, or like another one that did well shortly after that was places you shouldn't ride a scooter. And it was just like in gravel, in dirt, in the house, in the kitchen, you know, like stupid shit like that. And so we just started sort of doing things like that. And I think we sort of realized not necessarily random shit worked for us back then, but like this weird, we got into this weird little pocket of like this weird humor for a while that we were doing. And then every now and then we would go back and do a blindfold video, but...
And in terms of you guys getting recognized now, so you've grown up in this country place. You're now how old? Let's say 17, 18?
15, 16.
Oh, right. So you were, okay, forgive me.
I think I was in year 10, 9 or 10 when we had our first like 100,000 view video.
And what were the main changes? Did you notice that there were more people coming up to you? That
Straight away, like immediately, the next day at school or even that day at school, I had people that not necessarily didn't care about me, but that I wasn't like best friends with, like coming up and going, oh, like, this is crazy. Like you made this video. This is, you know, and look at how it's going and stuff. And to be completely honest with you, we felt pretty cool when that happened because, you know, in a young person's life, social media is very fucking important, you know. And
especially back then when you don't even know what the fuck it was. Like Casey Neistat and Logan Paul were the people we were looking at. So to be anything like them was
daily,
you know.
And so a lot of people, not necessarily ranting and raving, but there was like this almost like, you know, cool vibe of like these brothers might be doing something, you know, really cool and like important not necessarily important, like we're not saving the world, but like that's kind of the vibe I received a little bit. It's kind of hard to explain what I mean, but
you mentioned in another podcast that having been the socialite butterfly, what was it, rat shithead, that you got along with a lot of people, so that even when the videos weren't doing so well, it really wasn't a big deal in the sense of like, for me, I never had the Fairbairn films blow up of YouTube in high school. In fact, my YouTube's still on like 6,000 now from back in the day. This is all my old subscribers, right? And I built that just doing vlogs. So I copped shit all the time in school. I copped shit. I was good at football, so I played a lot of football.
Yeah.
And on the field, I was like, everything that happens to Prime now is what happened to me through high school.
Dude, holy shit.
Like, where's the fucking camera? You fucking vlog. Bro, that was my life. I was done doing that, except no one was watching me, right? Yeah. Only the people that were haters.
So I was just taking the piss.
So I never got to enjoy the fun part of that. And now that, like, let's say most times I'll leave the house, even today, someone asks for a photo. Like, it happens a lot, but it doesn't affect my ego in the way that I think it would have if things worked for me at the age it happened for you. For me, I just work in my fucking garage. I'm trying to make an income. I've got goals to hit, and thank you guys for watching me, but I would do it either way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Whereas for you as a kid, you've got a whole other world now of like, wow, I'm fucking awesome.
Well, I think, I don't know how I come across or did come across back then, but I like to think that I didn't get a massive head about it. To me, it was always like, it was always like surreal because I always wanted to be a YouTuber. I always like, do you remember Max Mofo?
Yeah.
He was my favorite YouTuber growing up. I used to download his videos at my mum's work so that when we'd go home back to the farm, I could watch his videos. I fucking desperately wanted to basically be him.
Yeah.
I know him now, and I've told him this when I was really drunk. Probably shouldn't have, but
no, that's good.
But Yeah, like I desperately wanted to be a YouTuber. So that when it sort of happened, kind of, I was like, it didn't feel real. It just sort of felt like this is this thing that we're doing that's working for us, kind of deal. You know, like I mean, yeah, like I said, I don't know how I came across back then, but I like to think that I was just like, yeah, this is what we do, and this is pretty cool. I guess we'll run with it for now, you know.
And one of the other things that would have changed is like, these people that you were watching were now people that you began working with, and you would have seen all of the advice that they would have picked up.
That was
way.
Crazy. Like
you've done stuff with Max Mofo now.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
What was the main thing you learned from him when you first met him? Like, hey kid, you're doing this right, you're getting this wrong.
The main thing I learned straight away was like, this guy is just a dude who's probably started the exact same way that we did, just making videos because that's what he found fun to do in his spare time. You know, like these are, it's pretty cliche, but these are people as well, you know, and like we'd finish filming a podcast and then it's like, hey, who wants chicken and chips? I might get some chicken and chips. And it's like,
he eats chicken and chips. Fuck. It's good. The idea of, I look up to a lot of people that give me inspiration, but more and more as time goes on, I try and remind myself not to idolize people, because when you idolize them, they become too far out of reach from, you make them not like you, right? But going back to our point about consistency, they're literally just you who have done more things and are consistent.
Or have had like a different life than you.
Yeah.
There are some people that I'm not sure if I want to meet. Like, for example, I love Tom Hardy, right? The actor.
Yeah, yeah.
And I don't know if I'd ever want to meet him, because to me, he's like this fucking
legend.
Not necessarily God, but he's a fucking legend, and he's like this Hollywood guy, and he's not really real to me, but he's like this figure. And I reckon if I met him, I wouldn't be disappointed, but I don't, you know.
It's like Robert Downey Jr. That's the same thing for me. Like, you think, oh my God, I'm going to fucking meet Iron Man. I'm going to meet fucking Sherlock Holmes. Wow. Or Cillian Murphy, or Cillian Murphy. How you say. Can you imagine meeting Tommy Shelby and you meet him, he's like, oh,
hey guys,
I'm eating dinner. Leave me the fuck alone.
Yeah, legit. There's a saying, never meet your heroes, because they reckon, you know, most of the time you're disappointed. Especially when they're
eating dinner. That's a thing that I see most.
So, you necessarily, like for me with Tom Hardy, if I met him and then he was like, oh, hey, dude. And I was like, oh, can I get a photo? And for some reason, he might not be in the mood, or he might be in a hurry and can't take a photo. Then I might be like, oh shit. Like, maybe he's not, you know?
So I'm not saying this out of ego. I don't really give a fuck, right? But for you would have experienced this more than me. Even today, like I said, someone asked for a photo. It happens most times. Like most people will recognize me. Sometimes people ask for a photo. The reason I mention this, and the question I have to ask is, when I see videos on TikTok of people meeting actual celebrities, like big dogs like Tom Hardy, right? I wonder, these people who have people asking them for, get that burp out. Just send it into the microphone, brother. Come on.
Fuck it, yeah, I don't know.
Brother, what are you doing?
I don't want to be gross.
No, send it. We'll fucking put some music and sound. Okay, it's all good. You see people meet Ronaldo and they're barely even saying hello, and they're just, I know these people because everyone wants a photo with them, so it's like, get the photo, get in, get out, fucking quick before they leave, right? Take the photo. Do you find, even when people ask photos with you, and I'm trying to answer the question and say it at the same time. We're in a world now where I feel like if I ever did meet the Tom Hardy or the Logan Paul or the people that I look up to, I would do every single bit I could to stand out. And not because I want to fucking be in business with this person or fucking get a job from him. It's more like, if I get asked for photos as much as I do, and it's like, oh, we could just talk, brother. How's Logan Paul feeling about that? Yeah. And I just wonder, like, are there any times where, like, I even did it today. The guy asked for a photo. I just kept the conversation going because I would rather talk to him about, like, oh, how was your day? Yeah. Maybe this wasn't a question. Was that a question?
No. There's like,
what do you think of that?
When I'm like meeting fans out in public, I mean, I usually, my favorite interactions are when they're just like, when they just act like I've seen you. I've seen you. And then I'm like, hey dude, how are you? And they're like, yeah, I'm not too bad. Like, I honestly
visited that palmy spot you went to the other day. Oh, how was it? And then you just start fucking talking.
Or like, even, not that I would ever say no to a photo, but some of my favorite interactions are when I'm walking along and someone smiles at me and goes, oh, hey Jaxon, what the hell? And then we just walk past each other. Dap
keep
up,
moving.
I will never mind taking photos. That's not what I'm saying at all.
No.
But just sometimes when they're just like super chill and And like, for example, I think maybe that's because I almost, like I said, it's all surreal to me still now. Like the other day I was at the Adelaide show and I was in line for this ride and there was this couple in front of me and I could sort of tell that they were like whispering to each other like that's Jaxon or whatever. And then eventually...
It's always so obvious. I don't know if it is. I can always tell and then it always is right. But continue.
I have people walk past me like when I'm with my friends and while they're walking past... like
show you the phone?
Well, that's happened before as well. But like while I'm next to their head, they'll go, that's Jack, like not even whispering, that's Jaxon. And I'm like, why even, like you're trying to hide it while in earshot with me. And I smirk and smile. And quite often I look back and they go, that's, without trying to sound like a fuckhead. But
even at the gym, I can see when people, they're like cross-referencing the phone.
And then they're like pointing the phone to their friend, like, do you reckon this is him?
I just go.
And like, so at the show, it doesn't make sense to me a lot of the time because I just think of myself as just like a fucking guy that does this stuff. And because I've been doing it for so long, this feels like a normal thing to do.
It's not a character you adopted. This is me, bro. Like
because I've been doing it since I was 12, 13, 14, doing videos and shit every day feels like that's the normal thing that everyone would do. So when someone comes up to me and she was a lovely, lovely woman and her partner, I assume he was her partner. They were lovely and they were so nice and it was a great interaction. But when she was taking the photo, she was taking a selfie, she was uncontrollably shaking. Maybe nervousness or like, and I thought to myself, that's going to be a blurry photo. Like, and I'm like, I still think to myself, like, why are you shaking? Like, I'm just Jaxon. I'm just this fucking idiot that craps out some videos every now and then,
Gratitude. Thank you to everyone who is here watching the stuff. But I like the stuff, the main point you said
obviously
there,
I appreciate every single one of you. I think you're all fantastic.
What I like most about the whole dapping thing when people are walking past is it makes it feel like you've built a community more than a following.
Yeah.
So when I had, like, let's say the dude today or the dude last week or whatever it is, when they come to you with a story or like today he told me he tried my cob loaf recipe. At Coles last week, someone told me they tried my vodka pasta and he's like, I made it for my girlfriend and my girlfriend's family thought I was a good cook. And it happened in front of my sister and she goes, does this happen to you all the time? And I was like, yes. And I said, and then she goes, isn't that cool? You're famous. I said, no, the thing that's cool for me is the fact that he's taken one of my recipes, fucking brought it home and made an experience for his girlfriend's family from something that I don't care that he knew who I was. I care that something I did generated an action which led to him giving his family love. But it's not a dude saying, hey, can I get a picture? It's a dude in a community of, he's part of the fam, the Fairbairn fam,
Yeah, it's funny you say that because when the chopped sandwiches were going viral.
Oh, God.
I made your chopped sandwich with my girlfriend.
Was it good or bad?
It was fucking insane.
Okay, good.
It was fantastic. It was hectic.
www.notoriouslyhungry.com. What?
We made...
Sorry.
www.notoriouslyhungry.com.
Buy my cookbook and buy Jackson's tickets. Anyway.
And buy my cookbook.
Yep.
I don't have one, but
maybe one day. You and your brother should do a cookbook. That would be good. There's a comedian that does them. Long hair, looks like a heavy metal singer.
That's what I reckon.
Yeah, fucking funny ass.
I've met him and he's a great dude.
Good. I mean,
even just meeting him, I had him on because I watched his videos and I'd never met him, and so I had him on a pedestal.
Yeah. And
I met him and he was just like, "Sup, brother?
Yep.
How you doing?" Like we were performing shows in the same venue, just different stages.
That's wild.
And we had the same green room, so I met him and his wife and like a couple of his friends. And
I reckon he'd be the exact same.
I was like, "Fuck, this guy's just a lovely guy." Yeah. Like that's, that does these videos, and he wasn't unlike what he was in his videos, but you just see like this is just a dude doing his thing, I don't know where I was going before I said that.
You made chopped sandwiches with girlfriend.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it struck my ego.
I mean, it affected like so it positively affected me because we made these chopped sandwiches. No, go for it. Let it happen.
Sorry, yeah.
And then like I fucking made way too much, so everyone in the house had a chopped sandwich with us, and it was fucking fantastic.
I threw Jaxon off his scent, bro. I'm sorry.
I never when I was doing that, I never thought I'd be here right now.
The world is small like that.
It's a crazy world.
Let's rewind again, hey brother.
What the fuck? Where do we start with that?
Mid-game dap. How are we feeling about that?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so
great, fantastic.
We're going back to when you were 14. Things are changing. People in class are now coming to you and saying, Jaxon, I've never talked to you, but you made this video. That is so cool, man. Mm-hmm. What about the dudes who I'm coming from the fact that I copped shit a lot when I was doing this. You're saying pretty far from what I'm hearing is you had a pretty positive experience.
Well, I think that came from the fact that I just didn't give a fuck. Like I was.
But didn't you? You sure?
No, because I was fat. So.
But so was I at some stage, and I definitely gave a fuck, Jaxon.
I was insecure about being fat. I don't think there is a person alive who's not insecure about being fat. Even people that preach body positivity. I think deep down somewhere, everyone, this is just an assumption because I used to be fat, but I think deep down, everyone who is, I guess, technically overweight somewhere would rather be maybe in shape or more mobile or whatever. So, but I think, I don't know, maybe it's hard to remember because it was so long ago now, but maybe I put on a front of I don't give a fuck, but that translated very well into the videos. You know what I mean?
And you're saying that people's feedback towards you was like, oh, I probably won't give him shit then because he's Jaxon, he's a loose unit he doesn't give a fuck what I say anyway.
I mean, for example, we did, Lachlan had we were those kids that anytime we had an assignment where we sort of got creative freedom, we would just do a video. We were the kids who would do a film or do a video fucking diary or whatever on this assignment. And I remember he had this one where I don't remember why. It might have even been the school talent competition, but we made a lip sync video to a Meghan Trainor song.
Shit, you were doing TikTok before TikTok,
yeah,
bro.
dude. And it was a fucking full length song of just me lip syncing to this video out on our farm. And we did lots of different angles and shit. And that ended up getting played in front of the whole school about 6 times. In front of the whole fucking school.
That's wild.
Like from years reception or like year 1 or whatever you call it to year 12, the whole school. And I remember the first time I was like, fuck, I don't know about this. And then you sort of look around and everyone's smiling and I didn't really feel any sort of judgment because no one else was doing it. So there was no like, this is cringe,
there's no bad version of this because it's the only version.
Exactly. And
right.
And so I never really gave a fuck. It was just always our thing. And I think that's why I also never gave a fuck because we always were just the brothers that did videos and stuff.
Yeah. Oh, well, now they're on the topic of fat
I don't even know if I answered your question there. But
you didn't, but we're going to keep zigzagging. We're going to keep zigzagging. Guys, bear with us. We're going in directions.
I hope some insights coming across somewhere.
But I'm almost, this is the first time we've... No, lost my thought. And that bit just got edited right there. Jaxon, you used the term fat Jaxon like it was a period of your life, right? I'm looking at a tall 6'4" man with a chiseled jawline who's not fat Jaxon no more.
Thank you so
right?
much.
Yep.
That's why we do the mahi.
Can you talk to me about that period of time in your life where you're this confident kid that doesn't give a fuck but is funny and popular and has been rewarded for being funny and popular but isn't overly happy with the situation, which is why we have chiseled jaw face here now.
So
chiseled jaw face.
I think chiseled jaw face.
And
I'm gonna get that tattooed on my fucking face.
Chiseled jaw
you know,
face.
Post Malone's got always tired. I'm gonna get chiseled jaw face.
Nice.
Yeah. So being a fat kid, dude, I reckon. And I can say that I was fat because I was 17 and I was like 125, 130 kilos, which is that's not a light child.
That's solid.
That is not a light child. And so I think when I was really, really young, I wasn't fat. But then from about year 6 onwards, I just loved to eat and I still love to eat. And it's tough being on the grind, but that makes the cakes once a month fucking
Tastes
way
so much
better.
better.
Yeah, it actually does. And so yeah.
What do you think led to fat Jaxon?
I don't think anything. I think just... Well, that was just I was never Fat Jaxon back then. No one ever called me Fat Jaxon.
It's only Fat Jaxon now that you're not Fat Jaxon.
Yeah, now me and my mates look back on photos and we go, fucking hell, look at Fat Jaxon.
It's
Holy
like a
shit.
character. There's a character.
And so, yeah, looking back, I don't think I was ever bullied, especially
for me.
Maybe once or twice or 3 times a comment was made where I went, oh, so everyone knows I'm fat, you know? And, but never enough for me to, never enough for when I was in high school for me to make a fucking change and start going to the gym and stuff. I always knew I wanted to eventually, but I always sort of thought I'll do it one day, you know? And especially that helped my sense of humor develop. I think that's probably something because I was thinking about this last night. When you're fat and for me, you know, when you're a teenager and all you're thinking about is like girls, I guess, or boys, or, whatever you're into, that quite often is like all that you think about, when you start hitting puberty and you're fucking horny and stuff. And I didn't have that. I wasn't one of those kids that was, I wasn't a 17, 18-year-old that was kind of hot, so I think I sort of subconsciously developed this, well, if I can make them laugh, they'll like me,
That is literally my life story. Yeah. And then when you do get chiseled jaw face like you are now, it's a fucking multifaceted skill set, bro.
Just wait. If you're fat and funny, just fucking wait.
Just hold on to the skill set. The appearance will catch up and everything will make sense. Yeah, wow. It is interesting, this idea of fitting in, and you struck something in me just then. I felt a feeling in my gut, and it wasn't the hungriness that I was feeling before.
If I'm funny, she'll like me.
No, not just that. People wouldn't always comment on my fatness, but sometimes, here or there, people would say something, and then I realized, fuck, so they know I'm fat.
Yeah.
It was like this. I remember when I was fat.
Oh, so the big shirt's not working.
Yes! Dude, so when I was fat Marcus, I was the dude who wore a jacket in 40-degree heat because my PE uniform was too tight on my man tits, bruv. Right? So I'd wear the jacket, but then I'd get so hot, I'd take the shirt off, and now I'm looking at people's eyes go away from my eyes and look down at my other eyes. Just my man titties, bruv.
And you're like, oh, fuck.
Yeah, literally. Okay, so I am. And like you said, you just go through this period of trying your best to fit in, and when you get funny, you fucking do. I know so many fat, funny people. Right? But yeah, positive thing. What was the main thing that caused the change?
There's a couple different things. I think just wanting to be, not necessarily like, I want to be hot so I can fucking sleep with whoever I want. It wasn't that. It was kind of, I knew that I wasn't happy with how I looked personally. And I always wanted to, there was a while where I was like, you know what? I know I'm fat and I don't care anymore. Like, I'll just do whatever I want. But it got to a point where I guess I can say this because it's not.
It's about you.
It's about me.
Yeah.
And it was when I was underage as well. So there's nothing the police can do about it now. I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about this. Tell me to stop if you want me to. But I lost about 40 kilos from getting addicted to.
Yeah, right. That's the opposite for me. I gained more.
Really?
Bro, makes me eat more. That's why I don't do it anymore.
That's what happened at the start. But then, because I was smoking all day, every day for like 3 years, I developed an addiction. So when I wasn't high, I was withdrawing, which over time, so I wasn't eating because I'm withdrawing because I feel sick most of the time. So over time, my stomach shrank so small. In a day, I would eat about half a meal. And this is, it probably developed an eating disorder technically. But
that's a horrible strategy, but an effective one.
I didn't do it on purpose. I just one day noticed that I'd started losing weight, and so I was like, okay, well, I guess I'll just keep doing what I'm doing.
It's like pick your poison. You've chosen one. You get rid of the worst thing, and then the other thing was a byproduct. I guess.
Then I lost about 40 kilos in about a year and a half, which is fucking heaps, actually. Wild.
But let me digress just to everyone who thinks that might be a good idea.
It's not a good idea.
Not even that. You're at a place now where you just told me you came back from your run. I asked you if you fucking wanted a beer for this podcast. You said, no, I'm locked in. I've got work to do. I'll have a coffee, thanks, right? That was your initial droppage to become chisel jaw face.
That also comes with sort of just getting a bit more mature and growing up a little bit and saying,
But what were the lifestyle changes, right? So, other than picking up another habit, right?
So I started.
Some people could use. Actually, I'm not going to say that. No.
I
was going to. Yep. I was going to say something about versus taking up to stop doesn't make you not addicted.
No, it doesn't. So I was smoking, just with my. Someone clip that.
I'm looking at my filmer right now. He's like, dude, why did you just tell the public that?
Chat, clip that. Where the fuck?
Go to therapy, people. Seriously.
Therapy's great. Go to therapy. Even if you don't feel sad, go to therapy. It'll help you. Swear to God. Where was I?
Picking up better habits above and beyond just taking on more ones that distract you.
I'll tell it in story form.
Fucking idiot.
I was addicted to. Then one day, I don't know if I should explain why I quit, but I quit for a reason that caused me to. I will never smoke again.
Okay.
Actually, fuck it. I'll just say it because it could be like a PSA.
Should we give people like a? I know we're in 2024 now.
Maybe a bit of a warning.
A cringe, not a cringe warning.
Just like not a safety warning, but like a
trigger warning.
Yeah, trigger warning. Trigger warning. That's a good idea.
Cringe warning.
Trigger warning. If you know anyone that has had problem with drugs or substance abuse or whatever, just be careful with your ears from now on.
That's good though. That's good.
So I stopped smoking. And this is, I am at this point, I'm in a friends group where everyone is smoking all day, every day. It's not like we're doing it on weekends. It's just like, hey, have you finished filming? All right, come over to mine. We'll sesh. We'll sesh, exactly. And one day, I think I've spoken about this publicly actually, but I don't know. One day I was with my mate. I'd just gotten back from filming with a couple of other YouTubers in Sydney. So I hadn't smoked about a week. And this is peak addiction. And so I came home with Lachlan back to mum's place, and I just went straight into my bedroom, slung my window open, and I punched about 15 cones in a row. Just absolutely got as high as I possibly could.
Okay. Fuck.
I think I was 17 at this point, maybe 18. I can't remember. Then everything was fine. I was fucking blazed. Like I was as high as a kite. I did that in about a space of 45 minutes. I smashed through about 15 cones. So I was off my rocker, but I was loving it. I was having a great time. Then Lachlan got a package in the mail about 10 minutes later. It was a VR headset. And
oh no.
It was a VR headset. We were like, hell yeah, let's give this thing a go. I was fucking as high as you can get in that amount of time. And we're playing with the headset. I put it on my eyes. Idea. And I'm looking around. We're in like this, I don't know, like Oasis or whatever, just whatever it shows you in the VR. I'm looking around. Everything's sweet. I'm like, yeah, that's pretty cool. Take it off and nothing changed. Nothing changed. And what had happened is I had a psychotic break while I was in the VR headset.
What? What does that even mean?
This is what a therapist told me. I had a psychotic break, and my brain couldn't tell the difference between reality and me being high or something. So
you were proper twipping, like
I was, and because when I was underage, you can't prosecute me for this now. When I was underage, I had a couple bad trips. So I'm not a drug addict, by the way. I just had a bit of a crazy childhood in a slow country town. I'd had a couple bad acid trips at this point. So I knew how to handle not freaking out on, how something was affecting me. So for the first 2 hours.
You're like, I'm going to be all right.
Okay. I'm like, this will probably pass in like 30 minutes. For the first 2 hours, that's where my mindset was. I was like, I feel really weird and everything looks weird and I can't feel my hands. They feel like they're not on my body, but I'm going to be okay. And then I'm like, at the 3 hour mark, I'm like, okay, what if this never goes away? And then I started freaking and I called my mate Dills. I was like, Dills, you need to come over now. So he rocked up. The plan originally was for him to pick me up and we go smoke some cones, but I was sort of freaking out and I told him about it. He goes, come with me, come to mine, we'll watch a movie, we'll chill out, it'll be fine.
Is Lockie still in the other room playing with the headset?
No one knew at this point, just Dylan. Right, so Lachlan's, whatever. At this point, I'm just going over at a friend's house. We go to Dylan's house, we get out the car and his mum and dad are both in the driveway watering like plants and stuff. And I'm like, Dills, I don't know if I can get out of the car right now. Like I'm freaking out. I can't even feel my hands. I don't know what I'm looking at.
Paranoia is the worst feeling.
Everything's weird.
Yeah.
And I get out and I say hello to his dad. And I reckon it would have sounded like this. Hello. Hello, how are you? I'm good. I'm going to go inside now. Like I was just trying to keep my shit together.
It's been nice talking.
Yeah. Thank you. Goodbye. That's what it felt like I was doing because I was just trying to be normal. I probably looked fine or like I probably just was, Anyway, we went inside and I was still kind of freaking out, but I was still kind of cool. Long story short, we tried couple different things to like stop it because I had told him like I'm freaking out, but I'm okay.
You like breathed or water or something?
No. We tried getting me
6 more cones.
We tried getting me as drunk as we could.
Okay. Yep.
I got about halfway through a bottle of vodka. We did, and it was just not working. My brain was not accepting the alcohol. I was not getting drunk at all, which is very interesting to me. I don't know how that works, but that's just what happened. I just wasn't getting drunk. So we were like, okay, fuck that. We're not wasting any more vodka. Maybe
The prescription didn't work. My bad. Let's try something else.
And then so we're like, maybe the I smoked was laced with something psychotic.
My worst experiences had to have been that.
Yeah, that's what we thought. And so I was like, okay, well, let's smoke some more and see if that's what it was. I had a couple cones and it just got 5 times worse, like my freak out. So the night goes on. I'm freaking out for about 5 hours now. Sorry if this is too long a story. I don't.
It's pushing on long, but it's reminding me you do have to touch the stove before you learn the fire's hot.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're fucking on. You're lying on the stove right now.
I'm lying on the stove. At this point, I think I started crying, saying to my mate Dills, like, what if this is me for the rest of my life? Like, I think this is me. And then
brain dead.
It got to a point where, and this is why I know it was a psychotic break, because it got to a point where I was talking to myself in my head and replying to myself, and I couldn't tell if I was saying it out loud or if I was just thinking it. And at this point, it's like, I don't know, maybe 10 o'clock at night. And Dylan was high, so he was falling asleep. And I woke him up and I was like, Dills, I need help. Like, I'm freaking the fuck out. I'm probably crying at this point as well. And then eventually we just couldn't figure it out. So
you start thinking you're going to die and shit.
Yeah, I was like, if this is how I'm going to live the rest of my life, I don't know if I can do it, and like all this shit. And so eventually I just called up my brother Lachlan and I was like, you need to come get me. I'm fucked. I need you to talk me through this, because he had done something similar. He had freaked out on before. So I knew if he's done that, I'll be okay with him. Long story short, eventually I sat in bed with him and we watched a movie. Eventually at about 1 a.m. I started feeling a bit better, and then I fell asleep.
Brotherly love, guys.
And then the next morning I woke up and I was okay. But at this point I'm still addicted. So the next morning I woke up, went to a friend's place, got high.
I'm waiting for the part where you skip to the fucking part where you told me never again and why.
So
get me there,
basically,
fuck, you're a sesh gremlin, bro.
So it just started happening. Every few days I would have, not as bad as the first one, but I would have a psychotic break again. Like I would have I
want to headbutt
freak
you
out
right now. What the fuck?
And because I was addicted, so I thought, well, I can't just stop because I'll have withdrawals and whatever. And so every now and then it started happening again. So eventually, and then when I was sober, I was feeling weird from it, and it started happening longer and longer, and to the point where I was like, if I don't quit now, I'm going to go insane and spend the rest of my life in a mental hospital.
Yeah.
So I just one day, cold turkey, never smoked ever again, and I haven't smoked for 3 or 4 years now.
I feel like it'd be irresponsible of me to not extract more meat on this bone now, because that's similar situation to you, but probably not that extreme. But I was still very focused on my work and still very focused on my health. It was just more of a coping thing for other things, right?
Yeah.
It never became that much of an issue where I had to wean off. I don't smoke anymore, right? But also because of the relationship I've built with her, I'm not against it anymore. There were times where I said, I will not smoke this year because of my old habits, right?
Yeah. Well, I had mates that were like, I'm smoking too much. I'm going to, only on weekends.
Never
or
that
once
extreme, but I know I had to come up with my own strategies to get over it. I know I wanted to talk about YouTube and business and blah, 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 but this is actually, there's a lot of meat on this bone. That sounds like a serious thing that actually is probably very relatable.
I mean, it might be. I've heard of similar situations a couple times.
Your cold turkey's all well and good, but it's not cold turkey. It's cold turkey with a range of other systems you put in place to make sure it didn't happen.
Yeah.
I'm sure the first thing that we can establish here is that your why was pretty goddamn fucking strong.
Yeah.
If I do keep doing this, I will be a mental fucking Fruit Loop.
Yeah.
And it's not good for me.
To happen.
So that's one. There's your why. So maybe number one for everyone struggling with this.
A big reason, this is pretty relevant. A big reason was we make videos for a living, and I have to be able to be on camera and I have to be sharp. So I cannot be at risk of freaking out 24/7. So I just, I had to cut it off.
So why is strong for the actionable points for other people. It could also, if you can't seem to find the why for why you might want to change a habit or change something, perhaps it's looking at the stakes of what do I really want to do in the long run, and how well does this habit of mine contribute to me getting there? And you could argue, yes, it helps me de-stress, and being de-stressed helps me achieve that goal. Look at how you feel at your worst with not at your best. Because let's say going back to the whole thing like I said before, you want to look at how you feel fucking after you, right? Not during or before.
Yeah, you want to look at how you feel when you're sober.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of thing. Like,
what else did you do to make sure cold turkey was a thing?
Well, I had to tell all my mates that I had to tell everyone the whole story. Mum and dad found out as well, which was a big help. Like, they didn't know I was smoking or like partying. Like, they knew I was partying, but they didn't know to what extent.
Yeah.
And I ended up just telling mum, you know, hey, this is what I've been doing. This is what's happened. I need help.
Yeah.
And just sort of
transparent.
The support system was good for me. And just saying to my mates, I started hanging out with everyone a lot less because all we were doing was smoking. Hang out was smoking. So I wasn't hanging out with people. And then it got to a point where they were like, well, you know, Jackson's one of our best friends and we don't want to stop hanging out with him. So let's do other shit.
So you curated your network.
Yeah.
So build support group, which is, if that is the people you trust, like your family, it means coming clean and having that uncomfortable conversation. Yeah. And perhaps that uncomfortable conversation is the reason you're able to make the change. And number two, changing your environment, which obviously seems quite obvious, but massively helpful.
You have to. And then, but
people don't want to lose their friends, which is where your point is like, well, fuck, they changed their habits too.
At the start, it was like, oh, like, no, I'll come over. I just won't smoke it. I'll just like, we'll hang out. But then it got to a point where I was like,
let's go for a run.
It just wasn't fun anymore. Yeah. And like everyone else is having fun, but I was just like, what are we doing here? And so I was just like, I started saying things like what, you know, if we're just going to sesh, I'm probably just going to chill at home, you know? And then I think, and I obviously told mum, and then I did end up going to a therapist about it, and I learnt a lot through her. I didn't go on antipsychotics or anything. I did have a couple of weeks where because I couldn't sleep because I was withdrawing for a few weeks. So, which was just making me anxious because, you know, not sleeping's bad for you. And so, you know, I was taking some medication for mood stabilizers just to fucking level me out.
Yeah.
But the problem with mood stabilizers is they make the lows nowhere near as low, but they make the highs, like when you're happy, nowhere near as high. So eventually I took myself off those. But that's better though, because
all dopamine does is just sap your dopamine. All does is sap your dopamine right low so that everything feels shit. At least it's like, wow.
It's a fucking roller coaster.
So there we go. Let's go for one more rewind, and then we're gonna fucking tail the baton home back to business, right?
Yeah.
You kicked a negative habit.
Yes.
And during the kicking of the negative habit, you had the positive byproduct effect of killing fat Jackson. That's not going to be clipped but you get the point.
So I got semi skinny-ish. I lost the brunt of the fat by being addicted. Now I can't use that anymore, which kind of worried me. I was
Here we go. Guys, this is where you turn your ears right back on fully.
Yeah. This is tune back in. Come on, here.
Go. Hello.
Now I'm thinking, I can't use as like to keep me not fat. So now I'm sort of started watching what I was eating a bit more. And then I had a mate who I hadn't spoken to for a while in school, and he was always trying to get me to go to the gym. So I tried going to the gym with him a couple of times, and you know, I ended up liking it. I've always been pretty inconsistent with like, I'll go to the gym for 6 months and then I won't go for 6 months. I've always struggled with consistency in that way. But like, I started having to actually really work at not putting all the fat back on, because there was a period where after I stopped, I gained a bunch of weight back straight after I quit. And I thought, I just don't want to go back to being super fat, and I can do something about it. So started going to the gym
with yourself now.
Almost. Yeah. And I went through a year or so of trying different things to not get fat, whether that be, you know, trigger warning, whether that be starving myself.
Fuck.
Fucking
hell. Jeez.
You know, I went through all that shit.
Yeah.
You know, not eating fucking much at all, trying to not keep on weight, and you know, now where I'm at now.
Okay.
This is my routine. I wake up in the morning. First thing I do is go for a 7.3 kilometer run near my house. And then I'll come home, eat some food, maybe go to my brother's place, or he'll come to mine. We'll film a video. Then in the afternoon when my housemate gets home, we go to the gym. And that's 6 days a week. And then Sunday is rest day.
And Jackson, how do you feel now?
I feel fucking amazing.
Yes.
There is nothing you can do better than improving your physical well-being that will help your mental state. You know, that's the first thing you should try, I reckon, above all.
You know what I like most about, because this we started with the comedy stuff. We've gone to this part of the story, and the more you've told me about how you got to where you are now, almost the further down we had to go in the negative part of getting there. But it really goes to show about the whole touching the fire before you learn. Everyone's fire is different, but at the end of the day, once you realize the shit's hot, it's the same for everyone to stop. And where I'm trying to go with that is, like, for someone who's listening who's thinking, fuck, I never got that bad, or fuck, my situation's not that bad and therefore I haven't touched the fire yet. Or there's,
not true.
Or there's people who are like, fuck, his is nothing. I've touched way hotter fires. Yeah. Nonetheless, there has to be some sort of point where you're like, nah, you know what? No matter whether things were worse for me than Jaxon or ahead of me, not near as bad as Jaxon, at what point are you going to decide for yourself what fire actually is? And maybe there's a way of discovering that before you have mini psychosis situation. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Or like, even whether it be like, another big part for me was like, I mean, for lack of a better phrase, but like, you know, I'm only human and I'm a guy and I like girls. A big part of trying to keep the weight off was I want to talk to girls, and I want to, you know, I want to have that part of me, and I want to, I don't know, I guess have sex.
And you don't, again, and the motivation is motivation, right?
Yeah, motivation is motivation.
It doesn't need to be wholesome motivation. However, in the long run, yes, it does. In the short term, you can have, like with the business, right? My first probably year of business when I wasn't making money, it was fueled by hate.
Yeah.
I studied all of my competitors. I looked at their websites. I took notes on everything they were doing. I'm looking at whose customers they had and blah, blah, blah. I fucking hated this person.
It was a war.
They never did anything wrong to me.
No.
I hated you. I wanted them to die. And it's horrible. Sorry, guys. I know this is too much, but I was hateful. And that pushed me for the first 12 months until I realized I was fucking unhappy. Yep. And then suddenly I found other motivations which made me more sustainable in the business. Long story short, half of these people I talk to now and I really like, and they're really nice people, and there's plenty of pie for everyone, and I'm happy.
For both situations, whether it be growing a business or trying not to be fat, no matter what, once you start seeing positive outcomes to what you're doing, that will begin to fuel you to do more. You know?
The other way around, Jaxon. It's finding the positive before it's there. And the reason I say that is, like, these people did nothing for me to hate them, and they did nothing for me to like them. But as soon as I decided that I should like them, and me being a happier person is more simultaneous to my success, suddenly the success started coming.
Yeah.
There was don't fucking even look at my customers because they're mine and they pay me. They don't pay you. Yeah. Right. And then it was, fuck, if the customer wants them, let the customer have them. I'll just find a customer that suits me better. And suddenly the customers started flowing in.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm coming from a place of plenty now versus a place of only I can win. And if I'm not winning, then I don't know.
I mean, whatever fuels your fucking fire, use that. But, you know, I guess... It sounds kind of cliche, but like, what's his name? Gary Vee says it pretty good. When you fucking put out positivity in the world, that's what's going to come back. Correct, you know what I mean?
Correct. Whatever fuels your fire, like, it just use what you've got. And if it is hate at the time, if it is a fear of psychosis, or if it is a fear of fucking not being able to talk to chicks, if that's what you've got and that's all you've got, dude, use it. It's still fuel.
Sometimes like a big one, a couple of years ago, I came out of a relationship and I was filled with fucking rage and not necessarily hate, not for her, but like I was just angry at the world, and that fueled me to want to go, you know what? Fuck that. I'm going to get my body right. I'm going to get my mind right. I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to do all this shit. And, you know, in the long run, it's probably not good to have everything fueled by rage, but, you know,
it got you started.
It got me started, and then you come out the other side and you're like, you know what? I'm going to keep doing this because I feel better. I look better, you know. It's all that.
Jaxon, I know I'm the host here, but, you know, we've taken a real pivot.
Yeah. How do you fucking even know why I'm here? How
do you suggest that I pivot the conversation back to comedy? Can we go there for another 10, 15?
Yeah, fuck yeah.
All right. So
I'm sorry for...
No,
fucking that was deep, dark.
But this is more real. I would prefer that, right? Because now I'm going to ask, like, what makes someone funny?
I've never spoken about that, I don't think, in a not even on my own podcast, because our podcast is basically mainly a comedy podcast.
Spotify wouldn't have let you, bruv.
No, they wouldn't. They would have said, Spotify, no drug talk.
I know we have no deals yet, but this is on Spotify.
No hate towards Spotify, but that's just,
shout out Spotify. Hello.
Obviously they didn't want us to talk about drugs when we're a comedy podcast. You know what I mean?
Let's tie this back in. Firstly, thank you for sharing with us. And if anyone in the audience just heard that and can relate to any of that, the key point that I gathered is use what you've got.
But also in saying that, be careful. Because the way I did it was obviously not good. It ended up in the long run, I'm good now, but I don't recommend doing that at all.
Yeah, the methods were ugly, but you got the thing done, and now you're all the more positive for it, and you've got the story to tell and the lessons to share.
Exactly.
But there are probably more healthier ways.
Absolutely.
Okay, tying this back to comedy, right? I've got a question here going back to Fairbairn films. And this came from Chiseled Jawface Jaxon from losing the weight from Fat Jaxon, right? Mm-hmm. I love how we've got characters for all these stages, right? What was Sesh Jaxon, like Chiseled Jawface,
different personas,
rat shitbag.
You know what we call Sesh Jaxon?
What's
me
that?
And my mates, just because, just like the crazy youth shit that everyone calls when we look back at photos of when we were out drinking. They call me Craxon.
Oh my God, damn, that's good. That's good. We always tied ours around Lord of the Rings.
Yeah,
so depending on who could smoke the most cone. Oh, this is too much information. One would be Gandalf, the grey. Yeah. One would be Radagast, the blue. Is it blue? Wizard. The green, the brown. Radagast, the brown. Levels of wizardry. Anyway, back to comedy. You were Fat Jaxon once, and Fat Jaxon actually was one of the key pillars, other than his brother Lachlan, for building Fairbairn's film success, right? Regardless of lifestyle choices, regardless of having touched the fucking stove or not, at the end of the day, Fat Jaxon was Fat Jaxon, and Fat Jaxon's I don't give a fuck, I live this certain lifestyle, I do what I need to do, is actually rewarding you in terms of the business growing, or at least the page growing at the time.
Yeah.
You were Fat Jaxon, and I keep using this word, but what was it like, regardless of the story you've just told, in terms of, I'm going to make this change because I want to be a healthier person, but everything good in my life so far, especially in terms of my dreams, have come from this character.
Yeah.
Do I want to change characters? It's working. I'm getting fucking paid and people like me, right?
Yeah. Well, like I said, I think I mentioned it last night on the phone, but like as a joke, like I was losing weight and I was going to the gym and I was, eating healthier and stuff. And Lachlan said to me, sort of as a joke, but sort of like, he was like, "Oh, stop losing weight."
What are you going to do?
You're not going to be funny Fat Jaxon anymore. Yeah. And I was like, ha ha ha. But I was always like, a little bit. I was like, maybe that's not 100% wrong. What if the I guess shtick goes away? What if people lose interest because, it's not Lachlan and the fat funny kid,
Because there's, like a fear of the unknown. Like, I want to make this positive change, but everything I know that's good is coming from this one thing. How did you get through that? You just stuck with the why, which is, I don't want to be a fucking psychosis or whatever.
I just kind of, I don't know. I just kind of sort of rolled with the punches, I guess, or like just went with the flow, and whatever happens. And I tried not to let it ruin my mental health or anything, which, good, because it worked out fine.
Not that the answer to this question matters. And again, the change in character and lifestyle happened years ago for you. So you clearly things are still going well, which means all of this was a fallacy in our heads, right? You didn't lose your funniness by not being fat. But objectively, did you find that things did change in your comedy style, or you just got funnier in a different way?
I think we just from doing comedy for so long, and while I was growing up, we just sort of developed into, that was just our thing, We're still always the funny guys or whatever, or, however you want to look at it. Just because we're always doing it, And
you didn't let the fear stop you from doing more reps, which was putting out more videos, and you found that 10 videos later, it really fucking makes no difference.
If anything, it was always, me and Lachlan would talk to each other and be like, let's do this. Like, let's fucking grind. And, even if it's just sometimes like, we got to keep this going because otherwise we're fucked. Just a little fuel to the fire. You know what I mean?
What do you mean by otherwise we're fucked? As in like,
well, it's like, I don't have any degrees. I've never had a real job.
Oh, right.
I have never worked, other than working on the farm for various different people. Like, I'm not trained in anything.
It was just straight from school to YouTube
from school
money.
straight onto, like in year 12, we were touring the country doing stand-up.
Yeah, wow.
On weekends, I'd fly to Brisbane, Perth, Melbourne, Sydney, whatever. And then on Mondays, fly back Sunday. Sometimes, I think once I might have even come back Monday morning and had to go to school. Come back, then like I sit down on Monday at school and I've got to do a fucking English writing assignment.
You've just come home from this rock star life, which is crazy.
Yeah, and like things like that. I'm like, fucking, I'm on the weekends, we're touring the country, performing shows for people that want to come and see us. And now I'm in school.
You got this double life. You're Spider-Man one day and you're Peter Parker the next, bro.
And then so, however my schooling turned out, I just, parents were always like, you need a plan B, you need a plan B. But it was going so well and it was looking so up. And that's all we wanted to do was keep fucking grinding this thing that we had sort of partially built at that stage. I just didn't really, sometimes people say sometimes having a plan B is expecting plan A to fail. You know what I mean?
All the time. I'm a thorough believer of that, having been through both sides. So for me,
like if you don't have a plan B, you're going to make plan A work.
Well, you have to.
If you're fucked without plan A, if you're fucked without plan A is going to be where it works.
Yeah,
should we
correct.
hold for plane?
Hello, plane.
Dude, me and Lachlan's mortal enemy for filming is fucking aeroplanes.
Yeah.
The wind and aeroplanes.
It's interesting, Jaxon. So for me, I'm doing exactly what I always dreamed of doing, right? Yeah. But I still went through school and fucking smashed it, right? My plan A was always this, and plan B at the time until I changed my mindset, which is I've only got plan A, and that's start a business and live off of my own income, not get a job, right? I've still worked at Subway along the way and then Zambreros before.
Hell yeah.
Or whatever.
Fucking love Zambreros and Subway.
Oh, mate, the best. 2 favorite fast foods. Anyway.
Same.
Yeah.
Same.
Shut up.
Dude, they're elite.
Where I was going with that is I had this plan A, it has to work, and it especially needed to work, especially when I started the business and quit my job, right? But I had this plan B as a backup, and I'm not recommending that people do this. I know everyone's different. I know a lot of people that have the dreams to do the stuff that I'm doing, but they're still in uni, right?
Yeah.
I don't regret smashing through school in the sense of, yes, plan A was plan A, but having the plan B there, not as because a lot of, like what you said, when you're pursuing plan B at the same time, you're ultimately killing plan A because you spread across both. I found a way to rejig the mindset of it, and maybe this could serve some of you who are doing more than one thing at once, or you're trying to please your parents, or you're trying to please your social group. I don't recommend doing that. I told my parents straight up, I said, hey, I want to start a business, and they said, we don't care what the fuck you do as long as you work hard. So blessing, I'm a special snowflake. Thank God for my situation. I'm so lucky my parents supported me. Yay. Point being is that by me having that plan B there, I translated it as these plan Bs actions are still reps towards plan A.
Yeah.
My work ethic from school, my ability to study and learn, my ability to prepare, my ability to communicate, and I studied psychology and all of these things that still help me today. They were for plan B, but I used them for plan A. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yours was a little bit more extreme in the sense of plan A worked for you like not straight away.
Plan A was already
in motion. Plan A wasn't a plan no more. It was a fucking
this I think this is known as well. So many of these stories, I'm like, I don't know if anyone knows this, but like plan A was working so well before I even finished school. I didn't finish year 12.
Yeah, right.
I don't have a year 12 certificate.
Wow.
So like we were just doing so much and just fucking, basically already had a career before I left school.
So plan A was already in motion.
And because I was I guess you could say I was a shit student. I was, and I was paying even less attention at school now because I've got this thing that we're doing on the weekends and after school that I don't even care about what I'm doing at school anymore. And if I was to look back, I would say to myself, like, just finish school just so you've got that there. And not for anything, just in case. It's just a good idea to finish school.
Long story short, to tie back to what you said originally at the start of this conversation, bullshit that you're fucked if this doesn't work out. You're telling me that other than school, 6 years or 7 years of doing this full time at your level, you're telling me you don't have transferable skills that'll get you paid outside of being Fairbairn?
I probably do,
Consultancy, helping other comedians, organising the shows for other comedians. There are a million ways you can make shooting for other people's channels.
Yeah, I mean, like I film half of everything. So, I could do that. There's lots of different things I could get into. But yeah.
No rep is ever wasted, Jackson.
No.
You're highly skilled no matter what you think.
Also, if you're one of those people who is like, my parents want me to do this, I want to do this, or I need a plan B or whatever it is, you've got so much fucking time.
Yeah.
You've got so much. I'm 23 and I like to think that I'm just at the beginning of my career. You know, I don't know where it's going to go, but you know.
That's a good
You've
mindset.
got so much fucking time.
The fact that I'm older than you, like I'm 24, just turned 24. I've always looked at you as older than me because I'm like, I want to be like Jackson one day. Like, as a kid, like, it was just odd, man. Interesting. You have a brother.
Yes.
We've made this very clear.
Lachlan.
He was older than you, and you've said numerous times, or I've said numerous times in this podcast, that he was at an older year level than you during these stages. Mm-hmm. You didn't finish school, but he would have been smack bang on when this shit was happening. What was his mindset on it?
He was a straight A student as well. I don't know if he found it easy, but he wasn't necessarily a teacher's pet, but he was just really quite good at school and he could apply himself where he needed to. And then he went to uni for film or something and then didn't like that. So he went to MAPS, which is an Adelaide thing, just for film. It's a film school basically.
That's how I first heard about you guys, because I knew that people were at MAPS at the time.
And then what was the question?
Going back to let's just tie this into a conversation about the influence of your brother at that time, because for you're fuck it, I'm riding this plan A wave. Was he all the way plan A, or was his straight A's-ness making him?
He was kind of like, he had a couple different plan A's. It was like he was doing this film, which film translated into the YouTube stuff and attributed to pretty much what we use every day now, just like little different film things. But like, you know, I think even still now he would like to be a director one day of like Hollywood movies or whatever, you know. And
how much do you think, Jackson, that his influence has almost led your life in a way? So obviously you're happy with how things have panned out, but bro's writing stories, your Jackson Challenges stunt double, it's worked. Now you're both in partnership working together as brothers, but at the time he can see a vision that perhaps young, reckless Jackson can't.
Yeah.
Do you ever think about the fact that you've fallen into this career that came with your brother and now you're here? You're here now.
Well, that's the thing. Like when he was finishing year 12 or going to uni, let's say he was 17, I'm only 15.
Yeah.
So the mindset there is at that stage really fucking different. Like I'm still figuring out how my cock works and shit. And he's like going to
ready to engage
film school.
Like, yeah.
And so, but he was taking me along with him. Like I starred in a couple of his film school films that got me out of school for the day, you know? And so he's got all these friends in Adelaide, uni friends, you know, whatever, that I'm also hanging out with. So I'm already sort of being brought to a not higher standard, but like I'm hanging out with people that are more 2 years older than me. I'm meeting all these people that are older. I'm meeting different people that do the same thing. So like school's getting even further and further away at this point. Like I just want to get the fuck out and I just want to keep doing this, you know? And I think that's also why school kind of was an afterthought towards the very end.
Do you look up to your older brother?
I do in ways. And I've said this, he knows this. I would never, I probably would never say it to his face. But, you know, there are certain things that I do look up to about him, yeah.
Because I was going to say, based on what I'm hearing, his influence and his decision-making, these days, no, because obviously you're in partnership, you know exactly what you want.
Now we're quiet.
Yeah. In those early days, it's like, I reckon this is a good idea, Jackson. Fuck it, let's do it.
Okay, fuck it, you know. Now, because I'm 23 and he's 24, turning 25, our sense of humor is the same. Like our brains work pretty similar now. He's still more of like he's a lot more of a tech head than I am, like way more computer savvy and all that kind of thing. But like in terms of sense of humor and ideas that we have, we both find all the same shit funny.
You're aligned.
We're all, you know, if I'm going to talk shit with someone at the end of the day, it is best with Lachlan, you know. We're on the same wavelength in most ways.
You found that place now, but I want to get into the topic of, you know, we slightly talked about this on the phone last night, the idea of being in business with your brother. Now, I have two sisters.
Great segue, by the way.
Love them thank you, Jackson. Love my sisters to fucking death, but would never go into business with them. And I don't blame them. I don't think they're bad fits. I think I'm probably a bad fit for them, right?
Right. It's tough. It is tough.
Talk to me about that.
So me and Lachlan have worked together. I've been with Lachlan every single day-ish for 23 years, you know, and it's good and bad. Some of the good is the fact that if we disagree on something or we have a big argument or whatever, at the end of the day, he's my brother, so it's probably going to be fine. We'll just figure it out.
Yeah, correct.
And then also in that way, like, let's say if we were working with someone who wasn't our brother and there was a massive fight, that person might just quit, you know? But because
Blood's
we're brothers,
thicker than water.
Because we're brothers, we can have, there have been times where we've had a fucking massive fight, maybe even hands thrown. And then an hour later, I'll come in and be like, well, are we going to fucking finish the video? And then we'll just look at each other and laugh and go, well, you were fucking whinging before. So, and then, you know, it'll fix itself like that.
Yeah. Wow.
And I think a lot of the reason why we haven't, you know, gone our separate ways is because we're brothers. And at the end of the day, we know we're never really going to go our separate ways. We grew up together, you know, it's just not going to happen. We're blood. So,
but you're mature enough now that, let's say, the business thing isn't working, or at least the comedy partnership isn't working, then perhaps you go in different directions career-wise because you can. But I feel like probably a lot of the main frictions for you probably would have happened during that 15, 18 era where you were going through the most changes in your life, puberty-wise and lifestyle-wise. At what point, there you go, this might be a loaded question, but something comes to you, go for it.
Fuck it.
Was there any point where... Yes, we've established the tiffs are probably happening when older leader brother Lachlan is saying, Jaxon, we're going to do this. I'm going to lead the way. I kind of know things. And you're going to be like, yeah, fuck it. You're probably right.
Yeah.
And then he is right? And then the tiffs came to the fact.
And now I'm growing up a little bit and I'm like, you know, not agreeing with stuff. And I'm getting old enough to the point where I'm like, well, you know what, Lachlan, maybe you don't know everything. You know?
This is what I'm saying. At what point did you know, or at least did you feel like, hey, I'm in Fairbairns Films production, like, because obviously Fairbairns Films is Fairbairn Films, but from an inside perspective, I would like to make this decision. Did you ever feel like there was a tipping point for you where you could have that say, not that you didn't before, but like a, listen, Lachlan, I think I got this one. Or
maybe not necessarily a tipping point, but just different scenarios every now and then would happen where I'm like, you know what, Lachlan, you're not the king. Not that he thinks he's the king, but like that's sometimes where I would come from. Yeah. I would think, you know what, like I've been doing this for just as long as you now. So, you know, I do know a thing or two here and maybe we shouldn't do this, or maybe this is a good idea, you know. I don't know if there was ever really a tipping point, but there were definitely times where I got to a point where I was...
You had to stand up for yourself.
Old enough to, you know, say, like, for example, one of the first times, this is not the tipping point, but this is just an example. We started working with an agency that was based in the Gold Coast, and straight away we sort of went into it, and Lachlan wanted to sign, and we...
for people who aren't into media, essentially an agency is someone who looks after generating deals and jobs and money, and they organize a lot of the back end stuff so that Jaxon and Lachlan can say, all right, we want to make our videos, we're going to do our thing. Anything that comes in money wise will be sorted by this agency. Yeah. They take a cut of that money, but they also are a big part in managing all of that money.
Yeah, they basically, they represent you.
Correct. And Lachlan wanted to go straight for this deal. Not
necessarily straight for it, but like it was our first taste of like, oh, these people want to, like, you know, having a manager, having, you know, having an agency. It's you know, it's quite exciting. And I think this mistake gets made a lot with people up and coming, getting an agency. They get fucked over early because they don't know what is a good deal and what, you know, not everyone's looking out for you.
Dude, I get 3-4 emails a week asking for people to represent me. I'm like, I fucking built this business myself. Obviously, yes, of course, help is good. But I don't want you fucking doing business for me. It's the whole point I started a business. Sorry, continue.
But yeah, that's good. Like not everyone is actually here to help you. No,
you're a cash cow for the wrong person.
Exactly.
For a good manager, it's let's build your career up in the right way. For a bad manager, it's these blokes are hot. These blokes have attention. I'm going to fucking throw Kellogg's deals out. Yeah. Sorry, I don't know why I named it Kellogg's.
Like but. Now, my manager that I'm represented by now,
sorry, Kellogg's.
I would consider him a mate of mine. Yeah. You know?
Yeah.
And he was managing another friend first, and that's how we found out about him. And I don't know if that was in the back of his head, like maybe I could represent these guys. But first and foremost, we became friends with him. And 90% of our phone calls that I have with my manager who makes me money, I'm talking about him and his kid, or I'm telling him about a fight I've had with Lachlan, or like, you know, and we actually talk as friends more than we talk as business partners. And then you obviously do the business talk, but where the fuck did this begin?
One of the points that you made about transcending into Jaxon now was...
I was telling a story about, so Lachlan wanted to, sign with this agency, and he's like, I think we should do it. And I was like, I don't like this. And I felt a bit weird about it. And then we had a lawyer look over the contract after that.
He was trying to fuck you.
And I don't know if they were necessarily trying to fuck us, but I said, I don't think we should sign. We need this looked at. And we didn't end up signing with them. That we did work with them with a few things, which quite often happens with agencies. But
that was a big notch in like, oh fuck, Jackson's probably a bit clued into this.
That made me think
confident.
Maybe I'm not just the younger brother. You know what I mean? Maybe I do have a bit of an idea of what's going on sometimes.
Speaking of money, I want to get into the business side of this, but before we do that, let's tie this off to the brothers out there. And I'm going to ask you this for myself because I don't have brothers.
And I also want to say, I do respect Lachlan's decisions and stuff. I'm not just here like picking and choosing when but like he's obviously he's very business minded, and I'll always send him in to bat for me because he'll never fuck me over. That's another good thing. He'll never fuck me over.
Yeah.
Because number one, we work together and that would be bad for him. Number two is my brother.
Not just that, you wanting to have more of a say in the decision making did not mean that Lachlan's decisions were wrong.
Exactly.
His decisions got you this far. It's more, let's work as a team. And I'm sure you've been doing better ever since. Before we get into the money, Jaxon, for the brothers out there, what is your advice to younger brothers? Managing that relationship.
That's a tough one.
Regardless of whether or not they're in business, by the way.
Yeah. That's a really tough question.
Something that's helped you, like for my sisters, like my mum tells me she'll roll in her grave and haunt us if us kids ever split.
Yeah.
No matter, she's like spent her whole life trying to, like, us kids, brothers and sisters fight too, right? And I'm not in business with them. But my parents, their one thing is after we're gone, you guys stay together no matter what happens with your friends, no matter what. That's the one advice I would say is like, blood's thicker than water, your family comes first no matter what. That's mine to sisters. But is there anything nuanced to a brother?
I'd say that's pretty good. Like, blood's thicker than water, and you can't choose your friends. No, you can choose your friends, but you can't choose your family. And you know how they always say the grass is greener. The grass is greener where you water it, you know.
That was fucking wild. I need like some sort of fucking track line. That was good.
The grass is greener where you water it. It's true. You know, and there's no better person to have in your corner than someone you've known your whole life. And like my older brothers, apart from, you know, some brotherly bullying here and there, they're always going to look out for me. And I just think, you know, like the grass is greener where you water it. Stick to what you know in that way.
There you go. For all the younger brothers out there that want to headbutt their older brothers, there is a way to fix that.
You're gonna hate them to fucking death at some points, but there's no point in the long run, you know. Like the last thing I want in my life is to never talk to Lachlan or my older brother ever again, you know. So, it's not worth it. Just fucking love. Let's send out love as much as you can because that's what's going to come back.
Business-wise, run me through how a comedian makes money. We're gonna do a speed run of this because I want to get to the last bit.
Speed run up.
How does a comedian make money these days?
Well, I don't know if I'd consider myself a comedian. I would probably consider myself more of an entertainer.
That's probably the good middle ground.
It doesn't really matter what you call yourself. Well, what I call myself in this scenario. But first and foremost, at the start, we were making money on YouTube views, AdSense, that kind of thing. And then, you know, we had a few good months on that, and that was our main income, and it was going really well. But then TikTok comes along, and now it's suddenly pretty hard to become a YouTuber, and views are drying up a little bit. And then here and there on YouTube already, we'd had a couple brand deals where a company would message us or something would happen, and
you get paid a lump sum to promote
you get paid a couple grand here or there for like, you know, promote. Our first one was Nobby's underwear.
Oh, cool.
They sent us a bunch of underwear. We filmed like an ad for them, and I can't remember how much we got paid, or even if we even got paid, because it was our first brand deal, so we didn't know how it worked. But every now and then that kind of thing started happening. And then now with TikTok and everything, because YouTube hasn't fully dried up, there's still a fan base, a diehard fan base there, but it's not like
lucrative as it once was.
It's not. When our main focus isn't YouTube. Our main focus is we still post videos on YouTube, but we're not making heaps of money there. So our main focus is pump up our TikTok as much as we can, you know, while still doing what we like doing.
But why, Jaxon?
Because the brand deals on TikTok is what pays our bills.
This is okay. Well, you've fallen not into my trap, but into where I wanted to take this conversation because my income, other than what I do for other businesses as a videographer, photographer, is brand deals, right? I sell my own cookbook, notorioushungry.com, and we're going somewhere with this. The point I'm making and where I'm trying to go with this, Jaxon, is how do you navigate giving your audience the value that you do with the videos that they love as a cold audience with trying to promote to them, which is, hey, I've got to pay my bills. You don't have to buy the thing I'm promoting, but at the end of the day, I need to drive attention towards it because X, Y, and Z company wants to pay me a couple grand, right?
Yeah.
You have bills to pay. You have goals that you want to meet in terms of like setting up your life.
Yes.
How do you balance, and we sort of talked about this last night, how do you balance the idea of paying your bills but not overly selling your soul to every single brand that wants to give you money?
Well, it's kind of tough to not sell your soul when you're doing, you know, in terms of TikTok of the videos that sort of built our TikTok, we don't get paid for them. In Australia, we don't have a creator fund.
No, we don't.
Which is fucked.
Fucking millions of views down the drain all the time.
Fuels my anger, that.
I kind of like it though because I've never been paid by ads like you have. So mine has always been brand deals.
Yeah.
Which means that if we ever do get the creator fund, I'm thinking, that's millions of views I don't get paid for all the time.
Yeah.
That'd be wild.
Dude.
One day.
I hope it comes around. I'm not sure if it ever would it?
Is it good to rely on ad revenue? Because then you're only ever chasing views versus doing, when you guys
that's why what we do now, how we get paid now is good because it's the motivation to make videos that people like and to stay relevant, and then that brands will see our account. And you know, there's nothing better for a brand to look at your account and see 1 million followers, and then you're like, you know, obviously they want to work for you if they see consistent views and that kind of thing.
And that's not to say there are times where you and Lachlan might take on brand deals that the audience actually loves. You might do a really good ad and they're like, fuck, this is really fun. Like the way you promoted your show. Right, I watched a YouTube video that you guys made where it started off as a bit and then it turned into a plug to buy tickets for the show. And then you've comedically addressed, Lachlan's like to you, Jaxon, are you trying to fucking sell tickets right now or the other way around? Yeah. Is this a fucking commercial? You're like, well, yeah, people going to come. And then you just played into the ad. That's a valuable ad. Yeah. I like that.
And then well, I mean, there are brands that we love working with. Like we love working with Sony. Like PlayStation, because we grew up playing PlayStation. So we're happy to promote stuff for them. You know, obviously.
And it's a blessing that they're willing to pay you to do so.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? And the reason I asked you this question is the first question I started was, how does a comedian get paid? You said, I'm more of an entertainer. And I think to myself, well, why would he say that? It's because let's say social media content creator is far to the right and comedian is far to the left. Entertainer's a good little middle ground, right?
Exactly.
At the moment, you're on tour for a live show.
Yeah.
Now, the reason I fucking love that and the reason why I continuously plug the cookbooks is because for me personally, I'm not going to promote anything harder than I do my own product.
Oh,
right?
Absolutely.
How can I give the audience value of something that I really, really believe in, but then also like instead of building somebody else's business, I'm building my own and giving them a value, right?
Yeah.
Do you think that, let's say, comedy shows whereby people buy tickets, you make an income in that direction, but you're actually giving them a show, which they can't get via Fairbairn films, right? Is that the direction you want to take more of in the future? Is there good money in comedic shows?
There is good money in it. I do, when you're on stage and the audience is feeling good and you feel like you're doing a good job and the fucking vibe is there, I've never done heroin, but I assume that's what heroin might feel like. It's just like an hour of dopamine hit, you know.
And does that take a shit on YouTube views? Like it's not even comparable?
There's nothing. This is actually probably a good thing to talk about. Doing YouTube videos and being able to re-record something and not having a live audience there to feed off of or like to be nervous about, you know, that could be looked at as easy compared to I could be not nervous all day, but 10 minutes before we go on stage in front of 400 people, I'm like, fucking hell, this is real.
You know what's crazy?
Holy shit.
400 people in a room would be an absolute sheer amount of, oh my God, there's so many heads in here.
Yeah.
This is crazy. But then you're getting 1 million views on a YouTube video and you feel nothing.
Yeah.
But it's like, you look at the number split on that.
You get like 100,000 and you're like, I wish that video did better, you know?
But then you're shitting your pants over 400 people. I can imagine that it'd be such a rush on stage.
It's so weird. And then when you come off stage and you feel like you've done a good show, it's like, fuck yeah, I gave them a good show. I've earned the money because, you know, we were the ones up there doing it, you know, and then you feel just amazing. You're like, okay, I've done that now, and I don't have to be up on, not that being up on stage is a burden, but it's very nerve wracking, you know, and you have to be fucking on for an hour. It's actually exhausting being on stage, being sharp as a fucking, what's a sharp?
Whistle? Sharp as a
tack?
Yeah.
Is that the thing?
Yeah.
You got to be sharp for an hour, and then you get off stage and you're just like, oh, exhausted. Fuck.
Yeah.
And
it goes back to
where I was going with that.
It goes back to kind of what we were saying before about the difference between followers in a community. The love that you would have for that 400 people. Not that you don't have love for everyone that's supporting you online. The 400 people that fucking rock up to that shit, you want to give them all a hug. Like,
yeah, absolutely. And you know, depending on how exhausted we are, sometimes we'll do meet and greets afterwards and have a chat to everyone. But especially over the hour that you're performing, you get to know everyone a little bit. Kind of, you know, you'll talk to someone here and there. But the fact that, you know, it's all well and good to scroll on TikTok and you see a video, watch it for 15 seconds, scroll, and, you know, that counts as a view. Well, I'm not sure how many seconds counts as a view or whatever, but, you know, these people they've seen your videos and that's what, maybe 2 or 3 hours of their night is coming to see you perform, and they care enough to buy a ticket and come to a show. Like, that's pretty hectic, you know? And that's also another thing that is good about being on stage, especially when you're in the social media space and you're doing live shows, is you kind of already know that they like you. Yeah. Because why else would they come to a specific
and pay money
show?
to do so?
Yeah. So you've always kind of got that behind you, you know? I have no idea if that answered the question, but we're talking about it.
I mean, I asked you how you make your money, and you said AdSense, brand deals when I'm doing them wisely, and hopefully selling my own stuff.
Yeah. And we try to do a tour every year, I think. Yeah, a tour a year, and because that's just, you make a good amount of money. It's not fucking ridiculous unless you're doing 1,000-seaters, but it's a good idea to do it, and it gives another platform for people who really like us to interact with us and come and see some stuff, you know. The
next steps, Fairbairn Films. Let's bookend it. What do you want? What are you trying to do? You've already had a lot of success in your 23.
That's a good question. And I get this question a lot, and quite often I answer with you know, I don't know, we're just going to keep doing it, but in the long run, I personally don't actually know. I'm still going with the flow, you know, where this could take us and opportunities that arise, you know. I know Lachlan would like to be a director one day. He really likes the whole film thing. I think for me, I'd love to get into acting, actually acting, because I mean, like, that's what I do for my job anyway. That's what I do for YouTube and TikTok is
transferable skills.
Technically,
you're not fucked. I'm telling you, I hate that you said that, because you're not fucked. Like, you've worked so hard to get where you are now. It's like, it's impossible that you fail.
I'd like to think so, right? Yeah. But yeah, I'd love to do acting, and I've had a taste of acting, and I fucking love being on set, because we had our web series that's on YouTube, and we had a budget. We got a grant from Screen Australia. We had a budget. Production. We had a director, assistant director, catering, costume, we had lighting, sound, all fucking the whole shebang.
And you liked the experience.
And it was it was the best week of my life, you know. And that makes me think, well, you know, maybe I can't necessarily be a TikToker into my 60s, you know.
Top 3 films, Jaxon.
Top 3 films.
Here we go.
Well, number 1, Shutter Island.
Yeah,
with
that's good.
Leonardo DiCaprio and Mark Ruffalo.
Yep.
Number 2, Django Unchained.
I watched that last night.
Did you?
Sorry, I was doing editing.
Fucked.
I literally had that on.
That's crazy.
I've seen that like 6 times.
It's an amazing movie.
I'm the sort of guy who watches movies like, if I like a movie, it's 8 to 10 times minimum.
Yeah. And
great movie. Jamie Foxx is a weapon.
Number 3 is really tough, because I've got there's 30 that it could be. 1 and 2 are pretty easy to go, like, this is my main film. But number 3 is hard. It's got to be something like...
You can pick a series too, like a franchise.
Right, okay.
That helps.
I want to say... I'd love to say Harry Potter, but, you know, that's just for nostalgia and the fact that I'm like semi-obsessed with it.
Yeah, yeah. But does it mean it was the best movie you've ever seen? Not really.
I could say something cliche like Pulp Fiction, but that's not my favorite movie ever. Let me sit on number 3.
You've been an absolute fucking weapon. If you could leave the audience with anything, regardless of whether it's business, personable, anything, do you have something that served you in your life that you live by now that you could share with the audience?
God, that's such a good... I feel like I should have written something.
I don't know what I would say if you'd asked me. So
I like to think... I mean, I just like... I take a lot from... not necessarily... Like, he's not one of my main guys, but I take a lot from Gary Vee when he talks about... like, no matter... You're fine. You've got time, you know? Don't stress too much. Fucking... You're alive. Just you know, appreciate that. And it sounds cliche and it sounds a little cringe, but like it's true.
Truthful things always are.
Yeah, exactly. Like you're gonna be fine. Don't stress too much. You're gonna wake up tomorrow. Actually, you might not wake up tomorrow. So why, you know? And 9 times out of 10, a problem you're stressing about that feels like the end of the world, within 24 hours will be absolutely fine. So just fucking be nice to yourself. You know what I mean? Give yourself a break once in a while, I reckon.
That was fucking Jaxon Fairbairn. Guys, if you like the video, press the like button, subscribe to the channel. You're a fucking weapon. There are tickets down below. I didn't even let him talk about comedy all that much, but he's fucking funny. If you've seen the videos, they'll also be below. Jaxon, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. We fucking did it.
Good work.
We banged it.